Scum dad, be reserved, your ex-wife is cheating with her 3 kids. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 16. Fighting the G family for the child. The tent was set up. The 3 children began to move their toys inside like the little hamster. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe were passing toys outside, while Lu Nuonyuo was putting toys in the tent, wearing cute socks. When they were done, the 3 of them had rosy hot faces. Lu Xining hurried to get them some water. Lu Cici looked sad and agreed as she held the kite. She waved to Ji Zhe, Xiao Zhe, don't you want to fly the kite? Auntie has taken it down. Chao had already taken off his shoes and entered the tent. He and Lu Nuonyuo turned around to look at their brother. Ji Zhe, who had just taken off one shoe, paused and looked at the kite in Lu Cici's hand with some excitement. Seeing this, Lu Cici immediately went over and held his hand, looking at Ji Chao in the tent, and encouraged, Xiao Chao, Xiao Zhe, what's fun in the tent, let's go out and fly a kite together. Lu Nuonyuo sat obediently in the tent, blinked, and lowered her head to play with toys by herself. She was happy when someone played with her. If no one played with her, she would play by herself. This is also the most tender point about the little guy. Exactly the same as her mother. Suddenly, a small doll appeared in Lu Nuonyuo's palm, and she looked up at Ji Chao's smiling eyes. He touched the little chirp on her head and said to Lu Cici, thank you, Aunt Lu, but I would rather play in the tent. The tent was set up next to the camping tent. Lu Xining was cutting fruit for the 3 children. When she heard Lu Cici's words, she glanced at Ji Chao and Ji Zhe. Seeing the heartbeat in Ji Zhe's eyes, she immediately understood. Although she is his biological mother, the child has always been very close to Lu Cici. She suppressed the bitterness in her heart, walked to his side and said, Xiao Zhe, if you want to play with a kite, go ahead. Ji Chao also looked back at his younger brother and nodded at him. Lu Nuonyuo didn't look up, and continued to play with the building blocks in his hand. The 2 little chirps on his head swayed, which was very cute. Lu Cici took Ji Zhe away as she wished, but because she was wearing high heels, she sank. Every step she took on the lawn. Not to mention running to pull up the kite, it was hard to take 2 steps. Ji Zhe looked at the kite that couldn't fly, and felt a little disappointed. Lu Cici bit her lip and asked Ji Mai for help, I can't run anymore, can you help me? The man's eyes fell on his youngest son's lost eyes, and he stepped forward to take the kite string from her hand. Not long after, the kite successfully flew into the sky. Lu Xining and Ming Yuan also took off their shoes and entered the tent, and started the game of drawing building blocks with the 2 children. The latter excitedly expressed his desire to compete. Ningning, Nuonyuo, and I are on one team, and the 2 of you are on another team. Whoever loses will have a note stuck on his face. The 2 little guys were also very excited and put in all their efforts. Half an hour passed. Small notes were stuck on the faces of the 4 people. Lu Nuonyuo looked at the newly stuck yellow note on her nose and couldn't help blowing it, with joy in her eyes. Silver bell-like laughter came from the tent, frequently attracting Ji Zhe, who was flying a kite. Ji Mai's eyes also fell on the tent several times. Lu Cici sat on the chair next to her with gloomy eyes. She finally got his itinerary today. She was so close to him by accompanying the children, and she would never allow Lu Xining to disrupt it. She had a fierceness in her heart, Lu Xining, the Ji family is mine, and Ji Mai is mine too. As for your 2 sons, they have to call me mom in the end. She, Lu Cici, is sure to win. After playing for so long, the 2 little guys were a little tired. The sun outside was not so hot, so Lu Xining took the 2 children out of the tent. Ji Chao saw his kindergarten classmates and took Lu Nuonyuo to play with them after getting Lu Xining's permission. Before leaving, he also called Ji Zhe. Lu Xining's eyes followed the 3 children. Ming Yuan sat next to her and motioned her to go see Lu Cici. She sighed, your ex-husband is really popular with women. Lu Xining glanced over there lightly, then quickly looked away and said nonchalantly, I wish them lovers will finally get married. Would be best if the 2 of them get together quickly and have more children. Don't fight with her for the custody of Ji Chao and Ji Zhe. Ming Yuan was a little worried, Ning, do you really want to snatch the children from the Ji family? For so many years, the Ji family has always been the top family. Although your ex-husband is a scumbag in love, his work ability is not bad. If he is unwilling to let go, it will be difficult for Lu Xining to get custody. Lu Xining looked at the azure sky and said in a long tone, they are my children. No matter what, I will always fight for them. From the moment she left the Ji family, she never gave up the 2 children, and she has been secretly developing her own power in the past 2 years. Ming Yuan sighed, if you need my help, just ask. During the conversation between the 2, Lu Xingning saw Lu Cixi walking towards the child, worried that she would do something to the child, and immediately followed. As soon as he approached, he heard Lu Cixi chatting with other parents. Are Miss Lu and Mr. G about to have a good thing? Lu Cixi pretended to be shy and glanced at the man who was answering the phone in the distance. She saw Lu Xingning coming over from the corner of her eye. She raised her voice and said, "It will be soon. We have already met our parents, and the two children like me very much. When I is free, the two families will discuss the marriage. Please come and have a drink at the wedding." Although the Lu family is also a wealthy family, it is not comparable to the Ji family. When she was a student, Lu Cixi liked Ji Mai wholeheartedly, but he was obsessed with his studies and had no interest in the relationship between men and women. After graduation, he immediately took over the Shan group, and suddenly a child marriage came out. Not only did they get married, but they also had children. But fortunately, they divorced. Noticing the sadness that flashed across Lu Xingning's eyes, Lu Cixi raised the corners of her mouth proudly. Even if she had obtained Ji Mai's body, what would it matter? After 5 years of secret marriage, she still ended up with a divorce. Everyone who heard her words was very surprised. People in the circle get engaged first when they get married, and they will get a marriage certificate after getting along for a while and feeling that everything is suitable. Lu Cixi looked at Lu Xingning provocatively and continued, "I said that his previous marriage was not good and he suffered 5 years of physical and mental torture. He wanted to marry me quickly, to wash away the shadow of his previous marriage." Lu Xingning paused. Unpleasant, physical and mental torture, shadow. Suddenly, it was as if a blunt knife stabbed into her heart and stirred back and forth. Lu Xingning's breathing stagnated. It turned out that for him, the 5 years she and him had only received such an evaluation. It seems that Mr. G really hates his ex-wife, who was secretly married for 5 years. I don't know what kind of woman she is. I heard that he had a child in the 2nd year of marriage. I thought he hid it to protect her. Now it seems that he was forced to marry a woman he didn't love. He was unhappy and didn't want to bring her out to see people. That's right, everyone knows that this Lu family is the only female companion of the Ji family who has been brought out to see people. You can imagine her status. Everyone whispered, and Lu Xingning heard it all. She didn't want Ji Chao and Ji Zhe to be criticized, so she didn't move forward. But Lu Nuonyuo saw her and ran towards her happily. "Mom." Others also saw Lu Xingning and couldn't help but take a breath, shocked by her delicate features and unworldly temperament. Whose daughter is this? She's so pretty. Lu Cixi lowered her eyes so that no one could see the sadness in her eyes. No matter how pretty Lu Xingning was, she still couldn't win Ji Mai's heart. But the next second, Ji Chao caught her off guard. Episode 17. Do you like the man I trained myself? Mom. Ji Chao chased his sister to Lu Xingning, and Ji Zhe also ran over. She fed the 3 children some water. The curious other families looked at her in surprise after hearing Ji Chao's loud voice of "Mom." Is this the ex-wife of the Ji family who was secretly married? Is there a possibility that Mr. Ji doesn't bring his wife out to meet people because he is afraid that someone will peek at her beauty? Hearing this, everyone was suddenly enlightened. If they had such a beautiful woman like a fairy in their family, they would not be willing to bring her out to be seen by other men. Lu Cici's face froze, and the look in her eyes when she looked at Lu Xingning was like a poisoned arrow, wishing she could pierce her heart directly in front of her eyes. When others looked at her, she immediately put on a gentle and lovely mask. Lovely Lu Nuonyuo. As soon as she appeared, she became the favorite of the children. The children's love is simple and pure. When they saw that Lu Xingning was so beautiful and gentle, they also ran over and called her aunt. Lu Xingning was stunned for a moment and smiled back at the children. Thank you for playing with Nuonyuo. It's getting late. We have to go back for dinner. Nuonyuo, say goodbye to your brothers and sisters. The little girl waved to her new friends and threw herself into Lu Xingning's arms for a hug. Lu Xingning picked up her daughter and held Ji Chao with her other hand. The latter held Ji Zhe, and the family of 4 walked towards the tent. At this time, Lu Cici suddenly spoke, with an expression full of confusion and vigilance on her face. Miss Lu, where are you taking Ye's child? The delicate tone, with the momentum of the mistress of the Ji family, as if she was a bad person who kidnapped children, attracted another round of attention. Lu Xingning ignored her and returned to the tent with the child. Lu Cici wanted to chase, but the stilettos of her high heels pierced into the grass again, and she fell to the ground. Ji Mai, who had just finished a call, happened to see this scene. He twisted his handsome eyes slightly and pointed at the staff waiting next to him. Someone immediately went to help her. Lu Cici was very disappointed that she didn't get the man's love. She was about to act out her pitiful look when Ji Mai's cell phone rang again. Seeing that both sons were obediently following Lu Xining, he continued to answer the phone. Recently, there have been some problems with the overseas project. Yan Dong has brought people to the company to follow up on the project progress. Ji Mai needs to go back to the company. After hanging up the phone, he went to pick up his son. Seeing how busy he was, Lu Xining knew it was the company's business. She looked at the two brothers Ji Chao, who obviously hadn't played enough. Mr. Ji, since you are busy with work, the children should stay and play for another day. You can arrange for a driver to pick up the children tomorrow. Ji Mai's inquiring eyes fell on his sons' faces, and they immediately expressed their desire to stay and play. The staff helped Lu Sisi to the flat ground. She looked at Ji Mai with a delicate face. My legs hurt. Ji Mai frowned. I'll have someone take you to the hospital. Lu Sisi's eyes were red and she said weakly, can't you take me? He said frankly, the company has something urgent to do. Hearing this, she immediately showed her gentleness and thoughtfulness. Then you should get busy with work first. Xiao Chao and Xiao Zhe, why don't you go back to Lu's house with me to stay overnight, and pick them up when you are free? She glanced at Lu Xining meaningfully and continued, my father hasn't seen you for a long time, and has always wanted to invite you to dinner at home. Ji Chao shook his head, no, Aunt Lu, my brother and I will sleep with my mother, and the driver uncle from our family will come to pick us up tomorrow. Rejected. By Ji Chao again, Lu Sisi clenched her fingers and looked at Ji Zhe, who was easier to conquer. Unexpectedly, his mind was on the new toy given to him by Ming Yuan at the moment, and the latter smiled provocatively at her. Ming Yuan saw it. Ji Chao obviously prefers Lu Xining as his biological mother. Ji Zhe actually likes her too, but he is playful and easily attracted by new toys. Children's toys. If she could have two more beautiful godsons, she could take over all their toys. The Ming family has companies that cooperate with major toy brands. Just make a phone call and you can get as many as you want. Lu Nuanyuan nestled in her mother's arms, rubbed her belly, and said childishly, Mom, my belly is singing. Lu Xining kissed her, okay, Mom will take you to dinner. Ming Yuan held a godson in each hand and followed her to the restaurant. Ji Mai arranged a car and driver for Lu Sisi, and then went to the company to handle work matters. Lu Sisi pretended until Ji Mai left her sight, then turned around with a cold face, looking at the 2 adults and 3 children in the restaurant not far away, and a crazy idea was clamoring in her heart. Restaurant bathroom. Xining just came out and bumped into Lu Sisi, who was waiting there. The other party came with bad intentions and asked her to leave Ji Mai. He and I have ended a long time ago. Instead of threatening me here, you might as well go back and talk to him and ask him to give me the custody of the children. Lu Xining, don't pretend. You deliberately appeared in front of the 2 children, didn't you just want to get back together with a Yi through blood relationship? I tell you, it's impossible. Everyone knows that the person he really likes is me. Lu Xining wanted to talk to her properly. If Lu Sisi could really change Ji Mai and let her get the custody of the 2 children, it would be okay for her to endure her words. But Lu Sisi clearly came to her to vent her emotions. Her eyes immediately turned cold. If you think so, then I have nothing to say. Lu Xining, stop. Lu Sisi's long manicured hands grabbed Lu Xining's slender arm, but the other turned around to avoid her, and she fell to the ground because she was wearing shoes that were too high. This time, she really sprained her foot. Lu Xining was about to leave. Lu Sisi sneered at her, Lu Xining, do you know what Yi said about you? He said you made him sick, and the 5 years with you were as suffocating as being in jail. Lu Xining pursed her red lips. She had been good at reading people's minds since she was a child, and she could see at a glance what a woman like Lu Sisi cared about the most. She wanted both the Ji family's wealth and Ji Mai's heart, but she couldn't get over the fact that she was his first wife, and she kept trying to please him. Lu Xining turned around and walked towards her with a cold face. The latter was secretly delighted, quietly turned on his mobile phone, and dialed Ji Mai's number. She must let Ji Mai see Lu Xining's disgusting face. Lu Xining curled the corners of her mouth and raised a sneer. Lu Sisi, Ji Mai's first kiss was me, his first night was me, his first marriage was me, and he became a father for the first time because of me. What do you think I mean to him? Lu Xining looked at her wide eyes, and the smile on her lips became more and more charming. Do you know how awkward, how passionate, and how long his wedding night was? He learned all his skills from me. Guess, when you hugged each other, was he thinking about you, or me, his ex-wife? Every word was a sharp knife, piercing Lu Sisi's heart. Her chest rose and fell violently. She was going crazy just thinking about the man she had been thinking about, sleeping with Lu Xining for 5 whole years. Since Lu Xining had spoken, it was natural to kill him with one blow. She shook her head in disappointment. It's a pity that I've only seen Jimai like that. You will never have the chance to see him in this life. Lu Sisi glared at her, and the latter smiled brightly, looking down at the jealousy and hatred in her eyes. Do you like the man I trained myself? On the other side of the phone. The meeting room of Sean Group was silent at this moment. Episode 18. 6 years in a row. Lu Sisi called Jimai's work number. The phone happened to be connected to the computer at the time, and everyone was concentrating on reading the report documents. When Lu Sisi called, the person who was giving a speech felt a jolt in his heart, and his hand trembled, and he answered the phone. When Lu Xining's voice came from the speakers, it was exactly the words about first kiss, first night, first marriage, first fatherhood. And the words after that were heard clearly. Yan Dong and other employees lowered their heads, not daring to look at Jimai's extremely gloomy face. With a click, the pen in the man's hand was directly broken into 2 pieces by him. Yan Dong hung up the phone immediately. The sound system in the meeting room of Sean Group was too good, and Lu Xining's pauses and exhalations could be heard clearly. Jimai's face was as black as ink, his cold eyes swept around, and his voice was as gloomy as if it climbed up from the ice of hell. The meeting continues. Carp Paradise Resort. After driving away the gritting Lu Sisi, Lu Xining returned to the restaurant, accompanied the 3 children to dinner and went back to the room together. In the room, the 3 children were making a fuss with pillows. Ming Yuan waited for her to come out of the shower before returning to the room. Lu Xining played with them for a while and began to urge them to sleep. After playing for a whole day, the energy of the little guys was basically exhausted. Before the fairy tale was finished, the 3 fell asleep. Lu Xining closed the door quietly, went to the living room and began to reply to messages. Monkey was very efficient. In one afternoon, he sent the information of several lawyers. She carefully checked the information one by one, selected the most experienced lawyer, and asked Monkey to arrange someone to contact him. Gradually, sleepiness came. Lu Xining was just about to go back to the bedroom when there was a knock at the door. I looked at the time, it was 11 o'clock in the middle of the night. Definitely won't be Ming Yuan. For some reason, a figure appeared in her mind. But she felt it shouldn't be. She glanced outside the door through the cat's eye, and the tall and straight figure of the man came into view. He had a high nose and thin lips, and his perfect facial features with delicate contours were particularly charming under the dim light of the corridor. It's really Jimai. The moment Lu Xining opened the door, the smell of alcohol hit her. She frowned subconsciously. She didn't like the smell of alcohol, and the disgust in her eyes was the same as always. The man's dark eyes stared at her like a hawk, and the cold and restrained tail of his eyes sank slightly. His eyes were calm, and he looked at her silently. He ran back in the middle of the night and didn't speak, which made her a little confused. Lu Xining said lightly, Mr. G. Jimai sneered, and the coldness reached the bottom of his eyes. His face, as gloomy as ink, became even colder and more lonely after hearing this title. His eyes were deep, and there were obvious emotional fluctuations. He walked straight into the room. The black suit has a cool aura, broad shoulders, narrow waist, and long legs. He is the best-looking man Lu Xining has ever seen in a suit. Jimai carried the 2 children out of the bedroom and entered the suite opposite in an instant. Lu Xining was afraid of waking up the children, so she didn't say anything to stop him. She blinked her confused eyes and looked at the closed door opposite, not understanding why Jimai suddenly felt emotional. Is Lu Sisi gossiping again? This time, the pillow talk was really fast and fierce. Lu Xining felt bitter in her mouth. Thinking of the days of secret marriage, she shook her head and turned to go back to the room. But the child is with his father, she shouldn't be worried, but Lu Xining couldn't forget the strong smell of alcohol on the man. Jimai put the child on the bed and gently covered him with a quilt. They opened their eyes in a daze. Dad. Jimai answered, Dad is here. When the 2 children saw it was him, they fell asleep again. When he came out of the bathroom after taking a cold shower, the doorbell rang. The hotel's intelligent robot brought a hangover soup. The dull and depressed emotions caused silent waves in his heart. He closed the door of the room expressionlessly. Seeing this, Lu Xining, who was opposite, breathed a sigh of relief. Although Jimai did not take the hangover soup, seeing that he was sober, she was relieved to be sure that he could take good care of the child. Holding her sweet and soft daughter, she slept until dawn. The next morning, Lu Xining took Lu Nuonuo to find Ji Chao and Ji Zhe. No one opened the door for a long time. After asking the front desk, she found out that Jimai had taken them away early in the morning, and left in a hurry, as if he had something urgent to do. but soon, she knew what the urgent matter was. The first hot search was a photo. In the ward, Lou Cece, with a pale face, was lying on the hospital bed, with tears in her eyes and a smile on her lips, staring at the man and child beside the bed. Business tycoons and gentle little flowers in the entertainment industry. Netizens were moved by the atmosphere of this photo, and they took up their pens to compose a romantic love story for them. Lu Xining sat on the sofa holding her daughter, and Ming Yuan was hesitant to speak. She turned her head and smiled, "I'm fine." She had experienced this kind of thing 2 years ago, and now it's just a replay. How can the heart hurt again after it hurts once, right? Lu Nuonyuo held her face, pouted and kissed her cheek, her clear eyes full of love for her. "Mom, Nuonyuo will always love you." Ming Yuan's eyes were sour. "This child is so heartwarming." Lu Xining agreed with her friend's words very much, and lowered her head to kiss her forehead. Her daughter was another gift from God to her. From the moment she was conceived, she had never been upset once, and after she was born, she did not cry or make a fuss, and was well behaved and clever. "Good baby, Mom loves you too. I will always love you." The day Lu Cece was discharged from the hospital, she left in the Ji family's car. Although she is a newcomer in the entertainment industry, she has the towering tree of the Ji family behind her, so there will naturally be no shortage of good resources. The day after Ming Yuan returned from the Liliuan resort, she went to the crew to shoot, and Lu Xining also took her daughter home. She hired an aunt who specializes in taking care of the children, and arranged bodyguards inside and outside the villa. No one is allowed to enter without her permission. In the past 2 days, Lu Xining's mind has been on the custody of the twins. She has contacted the lawyer, and she has also arranged people to prepare the information required by the other party. She knew that this was a tough battle. If she lost, she would most likely not see her 2 children again in her life. It would be a lie to say that she was not nervous. Lu Xining was not sure of the chances of winning this battle. "Mr. Ji, a lawyer is looking for you." Ji Mai's face was not good when he learned that Lu Xining really hired a lawyer to fight for custody. A cold atmosphere enveloped the man's clear and elegant eyebrows, and his black eyes, as deep as a pool of water, narrowed into an arc of scrutiny. The pair of slender fingers with distinct joints clenched into fists and knocked on the table, breaking the silent atmosphere in the office. He looked at his secretary. "Do you still need me to teach you how to do it?" Yan Dong's heart skipped a beat. "I'll do it right away." Ji Mai leaned back in his chair. His eyes fell on the family portrait on the table, which was taken when Ji Chao and Ji Zhe were just born. In a flash, it has been 6 years. His eyes were dark and unclear, making it impossible to see his true emotions. Lu Xining had just come back from meeting with a lawyer. She was wearing a simple and refreshing white silk dress, a pair of silver high heels, and her long hair was slightly curled. She was 3 points more charming than usual, and her every frown and smile was full of charm. When she got out of the car, she saw a familiar black Maybach parked at the door of her house. There was no shadow of the driver in the driver's seat. The rear seat partition was raised. It was unclear whether there was anyone in the back seat of the car. Episode 19. With Dad or Mom? Lu Xining did not move forward. Her phone vibrated slightly, and she glanced at the incoming call, her already gentle brows relaxed even more. "Old Gong, when will you be back? You said the same thing last time, Nuonyuo, and I miss you." Waiting for her to enter the house. The window of the back seat of the car was rolled down a crack, and the man sitting inside exuded a noble temperament of being pampered. The night wind broke into the car, and a low sneer came out. When Lu Xining finished her shower and looked downstairs, there was no shadow of the black Maybach. Everything seemed to be just her illusion. She looked at the night sky without a single star above her head, her eyes full of thoughts. The lawyer's advice was for her to start with the children. The strength of the Ji family is obvious to all. Ji Mai has no other heirs except Ji Chao and Ji Zhe. And she also has a daughter, Lu Nuonyuo. Legally, custody will be more inclined to the party without other children, which will reduce her chances of winning. But if the children are willing to follow their mother firmly, her chances of winning this custody lawsuit will be greater. As a mother, of course she wants to accompany her 2 children to grow up. But if they prefer to follow their father? Lu Xining's eyes sank, then she would leave them a worry-free future. She has never been a soft-hearted person. Once this custody lawsuit begins, one party will always be out. In the evening of the next day, Lu Xining appeared at the door of the kindergarten. But she didn't expect that Lu Cece and Ji Mai would also come. The moment the man saw her, the temperature around him changed significantly. Before his cold eyes turned to her, she had already turned her face away indifferently. Her eyes fell on the door of the kindergarten. Today, Lu Xining is beautiful, with a fairy-like aura. The smoky purple gauze skirt is ankle length, and the slender waist is outlined by a thin belt, showing a graceful figure. The black hair is tied to one side by a white jade hairpin. Elegant and noble. Like a legitimate daughter from a noble family. This is another side of Jimai that he has never seen. Seeing the man's increasingly focused gaze, Lu Sisi spoke unwillingly, with a soft voice, the baby is out. Realizing his absent-mindedness, Jimai's long eyelashes drooped, hiding all his emotions in his eyes, and his face returned to indifference. In front, Ji Chao led Jizai out, and the two saw Jimai at a glance, quickened their pace, and ran towards him. Dad. Lu Xining was not far from Jimai. Ji Chao saw her as soon as he came out, his eyes lit up, and he pulled his brother and hurried towards her, his steps eager and full of joy. Mom, why are you here? Lu Xining squatted down and hugged them both in her arms, and gently responded, Mom is here to pick you up from school, don't you like it? Ji Chao shook his head and nodded, rubbed his head embarrassedly, I like it, I like Mom to pick me up, I like it very much. Lu Xining smiled and touched the heads of the two children. Ji Chao looked behind her, looking for Lu Nuonyuo. Mom, didn't your sister come? Jizai also asked, where is Nuonyuo? Lu Xining said, your sister is at home, Mom and Aunt Mingyuan bought a lot of new toys for you, do you want to go home with Mom? One for the sister, the other, for the new toys. The two said in unison, yes. Just then. A man's cold voice came from behind them, with a father's severity and displeasure, Ji Chao, Jizai. Jimai was wearing a black haute couture suit as always, as if he had just come down from the conference table. The warm sun sprinkled behind him, as if it was coated with a layer of golden light, and the steady footsteps, with a kind of majesty and momentum that others did not have, made people want to look up involuntarily. The three people looked at him at the same time. Similar eyebrows and eyes, they are obviously mother and son. Lu Sisi raised the gift box in her hand, Xiao Chao and Xiao Zai, Auntie brought you your favorite cakes. Ji Chao politely refused, thank you, Auntie Lu, but we don't like cakes now. Lu Sisi's face changed slightly, really? Then Auntie will bring you something else next time. There were whispers around. A mother alone, and a father with other women around her. This scene is familiar to many women. By the way, which one of these two is the original wife? Which one is the mistress? I guess the one in the purple dress is the original wife. It's hard to say. Now many mistresses are set up to be as calm as chrysanthemums. Let's see. Hearing the discussions of the people around him, Jimai raised his eyes and glanced around, scaring the people watching the show to lower their heads and dare not look at each other. The man said in a low voice, where are you taking them? Lu Xining held the hands of the two children on the left and right, and slowly stood up. You said that I can come over any time I want to see the children. Today, I want to take them home for dinner, and I will send them back after dinner. Jimai refused directly, not today. Lu Sisi smiled proudly and added, Miss Lu, today you will bring the two children back to Lu's house for dinner with me. Please return the children to us. Lu Xining suddenly smiled, return? She put away her smile and her eyes were stern, even if you want to be a stepmother, you have to wait until you enter the Ji family. Jimai's face sank when he heard this, Lu Xining, can't you speak properly? Lu Xining sneered in her heart. When did she not speak properly? It's just that he always felt that what she said was unpleasant to hear. Ji Chao held Lu Xining's hand tightly and moved closer to her. Jizai beside him also looked up at her. The two people remembered the morning in Yuqiao village at the same time. Lu Xining ignored the pride and provocation in Lu Sisi's eyes, and didn't even look at Jimai's dark face. She looked at Ji Chao and Jizai and asked softly. Xiao Chao, Xiao Zai, do you want to go to Lu's house with Dad for dinner, or go home with Mom and have dinner with your sister? Ji Chao said without thinking, go home with Mom. Jizai also echoed, go home with Mom, same as brother. He was not used to calling her Mom yet, and secretly looked at Lu Xining's expression. He found that she was not angry, but relieved. He couldn't help but get close to her. Lu Xining noticed his little action, bent down and rubbed his hair. Although it was a little sad that Jizai was still not used to calling her Mom, she was willing to wait, and she would always wait until he called her Mom naturally. She looked at Jimai and said calmly, did you hear that? The child wants to go home with me for dinner. Ji Chao looked at him and took the initiative to speak, Dad, you said that you should be brave to express your true thoughts. He held his mother's hand and said firmly, I want to have dinner with Mom and sister. But my brother and I still love Dad very much, don't be jealous. As expected of a child taught by Jimai, he knew to give a sweet date to the person who was rejected after expressing his thoughts. Jimai's eyes were always focused on Lu Xining's eyes, but the other party's eyes were on the child, not even a side glance was given to him. In his chest, an inexplicable depression and irritability suddenly surged. Jimai was silent for a moment. Yeah. Lu Xining looked at him in surprise. She thought it would take more effort. She was even prepared not to take her 2 sons away today. Unexpectedly, Jimai agreed. Her eyes fell on Lu Sisi, next to the man. The other party's face was happy when she heard the words, and she looked up at him shyly. Lu Xining understood instantly. She also strengthened her own ideas in her heart. Jimai can agree to let the 2 children go home with Lu Sisi for dinner once in order to date her. Then there will be a second time. By then, will the 3rd and 4th times be far behind? Victory is just ahead. Episode 20. Uncle is mean to me. Hearing that, he agreed. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe hugged his legs one after another. Thank you, Dad. The 2 of them held Lu Xining's hands on the left and right, and jumped into her car. Lu Xining took the 2 children away as she wished. Lu Sisi, who was standing behind her, had a slightly red cheek and excited eyes. It was just right that the 2 children were taken away. She could go back to eat alone with Jimai, and then ask her father to give him more wine, and then the matter would be settled. She believed that as long as Jimai had tasted her, he would never forget it. By then, if she pestered him a few more times and got pregnant, she would no longer have to please Ji Chao and Ji Zhe against her will. If a few more photos were taken, she would be one step closer to being put on the list of the wife of the president of Shan Group. Let's go back to eat. She reached out to pull Jimai, but the other party just had a phone call and avoided her hand. After answering the phone, the man's face suddenly turned cold. He turned to her and said, "Sorry, something happened at the company. I'll arrange other drivers to take you back." She acted coquettishly to him. You said you would go to Lu's house for dinner today." Jimai's cold and distant eyebrows seemed to inadvertently pass over the car that Lu Xining had just left. His eyes were as unpredictable as the abyss. He said humbly and politely, "Sisi, if Uncle Lu wants to ask for something, just contact my secretary directly. I will definitely help if I can." After that, he got in the car and left. The people watching the show around left one after another. When Lu Sisi heard those people praising Lu Xining's beauty and her match with Jimai, she was furious and crazy thoughts appeared again. "Lu Xining, you forced me to do this. Only if you and the child disappear can he belong to me completely." Lu Sisi took out her cell phone and called one of her father's men. "Uncle Scar, this is Sisi." On the way home, Lu Xining asked the 2 children about interesting things in kindergarten. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe opened up the conversation, and the mother and her 2 children rarely enjoyed this warm moment. As soon as they got home, they saw the little guy lying on the sofa by the French window in the living room. When he saw them coming back, his eyes lit up. Before they entered the door, the little guy stepped on his furry slippers and threw Ji Chao and Ji Zhe in his arms at the door. "Mom, brother." Ji Chao immediately hugged her happily. "Nuo nuo." Ji Zhe was a little flattered. "Sister, sister." Lu Xining touched her daughter's head. "Good boy, take the 2 brothers to wash their hands, and dinner will be served soon." Lu Nuonuo took one of each hand and took them to wash their hands. Lu Xining looked at the 3 siblings who had a good relationship, and a smile reached the bottom of her eyes. She hoped that this scene would be a daily routine in the future. The chef was hired by Lu Xining with a large sum of money. The dinner was all the 3 children's favorite meals. After eating, the 3 of them immediately went to the toy house. The floor was full of new toys. Lu Xining changed into home clothes and played with them. Time passed by. Lu Xining saw the newly bought Polaroid camera on the table, and she asked the housekeeper to come over to help them take a few photos of the 4 of them. Lu Xining sat in the middle, Lu Nuonuo nestled in her arms, Ji Chao and Ji Zhe sat beside her, and she wanted to open her arms to hug their shoulders. 1, 2, 3, eggplant. They finished after taking 2 boxes of film. When the photos were taken, everyone realized that Jimai was there too. The man was still wearing the black suit he wore in the afternoon, standing at the door of the toy house with a cold face. Lu Xining's eyes were complicated. She found that in all the photos taken later, there was a shadow of Jimai. Compared with the changes in the expressions and movements of the 4 of them, he was like a sculpture, standing at the door with a serious face. When Ji Chao and Ji Zhe saw Jimai in the photo, they immediately looked up at the door and shouted excitedly, "Dad." Jimai walked into the house. "Dad is here to take you home." Lu Nuonuo nestled in Lu Xining's arms obediently. The 2 looked at Jimai and the others, without saying a word. On the carpet were the newly taken photos. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe pulled him to sit down and enthusiastically introduced the photos they had just taken to him. Ji Zhe pointed at Jimai in the photos and said, "Dad, look, you are also in these photos." Then he frowned, but Dad, you are so serious. Ji Chao glanced at Lu Xining and whispered, Dad, take a photo with us. Ji Zhe immediately came over with a clear look in his eyes. Yes, Dad, we haven't taken photos for a long time. I want to take photos with my parents, brothers, and sisters. Xining suddenly looked up, her voice trembling, Xiaozhe, what did you call me just now? Ji Mai's face turned dark, and he was stopped just as he was about to speak. Lu Xining, don't talk first. She put down her daughter in her arms and looked at Ji Zhe expectantly. The latter lowered his head a little embarrassedly. He didn't know why he suddenly called out, but now he was a little shy. Lu Nuonyuo looked at Lu Xining and Ji Zhe, climbed up from the carpet, and stretched out her hand to Ji Mai, hold. Ji Mai was stunned, and there was a sweet little guy in his arms. Although she is more than 1 year old, she is small and light to hold. Ji Mai's black eyes are soaked with complex light. Lu Nuonyuo really liked the smell of Ji Mai, which made her feel like her father. She stretched out her clean little hand and covered his mouth. She made a hush gesture, Uncle, don't talk. Ji Mai. Ji Zhe stood beside Ji Chao awkwardly, and the latter patted his hands, Brother, Mom is looking forward to you calling Mom. Lu Nuonyuo leaned on Ji Mai's arms and clapped his hands, call Mom. Ji Zhe looked up at Lu Xining, and seeing her red eyes, he felt an indescribable feeling in his heart, and he whispered Mom. Lu Xining pulled him and Ji Chao into her arms. She choked and said, Mom is here. This scene was very ironic in Ji Mai's eyes. He lowered his eyes slightly, and just as he was about to say to take the child away, the Polaroid camera clicked. The housekeeper smiled awkwardly, let me try to see if this new photo paper is installed. Hearing the sound, Ji Zhe was very excited. He hasn't had enough fun yet. He pulled Ji Chao to sit next to Lu Xining and said to the housekeeper, Uncle housekeeper, please take a few more photos for us. Lu Xining turned back to look at Ji Mai's eyes, which were dark. She knew that he didn't like taking pictures with her. Just as she was about to leave, she saw the man looking down at her daughter's little Jojo, as if he agreed. A box of photo paper was used up. The little guy in his arms took the photos and looked at them again and climbed back into his arms with one of them. She curled her lips, Uncle, don't laugh, ugly. This was the first time someone said that Ji Mai was ugly. He raised his eyebrows and looked at the brave Lu Nuonyuo in front of him. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe looked at each other and felt that their father was too serious. Seeing Lu Nuonyuo making faces to make Ji Mai laugh, the two were stunned and joined in the laughter. The 3 children surrounded Ji Mai, and the way they tried their best to make him laugh made Lu Xining laugh. It was the first time she saw Ji Mai at a loss and a little embarrassed. The scene was a bit humorous and funny. The man met her gaze and glanced at her coldly. Ji Mai, take your daughter away. Lu Xining just stretched out her hand and saw Lu Nuonyuo's eyes were red. She hurried over to hug her, my dear, why are you crying? The little girl didn't know what was wrong. She hugged Ji Mai's neck and said aggrievedly, Mom, Uncle is mean to me. The golden beans fell off as soon as they were said. Ji Mai felt the wetness on the back of his hand, his heart trembled, and he said a little unnaturally, I'm not mean to you. Episode 21. Father gone, brother left behind. The little guy's bright eyes were filled with big tears. She sniffed and stared into his deep eyes. Lu Nuonyuo, then Uncle smile. Ji Mai avoided her gaze, I don't like to smile. The fair little face collapsed in disappointment, and the watery and bright eyes were obviously disappointed. He pursed his lips and lowered his head. Seeing that the little person in his arms was about to cry again, Ji Mai could only pull the corners of his mouth. Although it was stiff, it was also a smile. Lu Nuonyuo immediately burst into laughter. She showed a bright smile to Lu Xining next to her and moved her little face closer. Mom, wipe it. Lu Xining looked at her helplessly, not knowing why her daughter was not afraid of Ji Mai, whose face was as black as ink. She wiped Lu Nuonyuo's face with a tissue. Just after wiping it clean, the little girl turned her head and smiled at Ji Mai, shaking her little face at him. Lu Nuonyuo, it's clean. She shook it too hard, and she lost her balance and fell to the side. Ji Mai and Lu Xining attacked at the same time. The man was one step faster than her and pulled the little girl back. Lu Xining said nervously, Nuonyuo. Lu Nuonyuo smiled, Mom, Nuonyuo is fine. She turned her head and kissed Ji Mai's face again, thank you, Uncle. Seeing that she was fine, Lu Xining's heart was relieved. Seeing the man's gloomy face, Lu Xining hurriedly reached out to the child, Nuonyuo, come to Mom's arms. Unexpectedly, the little girl pushed Ji Chao and Ji Zhe to her, turned her clear eyes, and nestled in Ji Mai's arms with a sly smile. Lu Nuonyuo, Mom, hold my brother. She knew that her mother had always missed her two brothers. She liked her mother and her brother, and they all liked her too. The only thing left is this dark uncle. Or, cheap dad? Lu Nuonuo held up her little head, feeling a little distressed. This cheap dad is not likable, and her mother only wants two brothers. What can she do? She loves her mother the most, and she must help her mother. It seems that she can only get rid of the father and keep the brother. Noticing Lu Nuonuo's focused eyes, Jimai lowered his head. The latter immediately raised a sweet smile to him, stretched out her hand to hug his arm, and the two little ones swayed. Their white and rosy faces were really pleasing, and the ice in Jimai's heart was constantly melting. In the end, Jimai held Lu Nuonuo, and Lu Xining held their two sons, and took many group photos. The little guy looked up at Jimai from time to time, and when she saw that the man didn't smile, her eyes began to turn red again. There was no way, Jimai could only cooperate with her. Unspeakable unknown emotions slowly flowed in his heart. After taking the photos, the three little guys were like sharing toys, taking one after another, and dividing all the photos. Lu Nuonuo picked out a photo from her share and gave it to Jimai. Her eyes, which had been crying, were bright and full of little stars of joy. She looked up at him and said, "Uncle, this is for you." The man took it silently, but his eyes froze the moment he saw the photo clearly. This photo looks too much like a family portrait of 5 people. Lu Nuonuo nestled in his arms with an innocent smile, her white little hands grasping his black shirt, and in the photo, the corners of his mouth slightly raised, his eyes fell on Lu Xining next to him. She was holding Ji Chao and Ji Zhe, and the three of them smiled with similar and charming eye arcs. Lu Xining was next to Jimai and was also stunned when she saw the photo. Looking at her daughter who had returned to her son again, she said carefully, "I'm sorry, Nuonuo likes to share since she was a child. Don't mind. You can throw away the photos when she is not paying attention." As soon as the voice fell, Jimai's face immediately darkened. The man was too tall, standing much taller than her. He had just held the child for a long time, and his iron trousers were slightly wrinkled, adding a bit of laziness and casualness to his body. Jimai's eyebrows were cold. "In your eyes, am I someone who would throw away children's things casually?" He was too close, and Lu Xining could smell the scent of shower gel on his body. It was very familiar. It was a bit like the one she loved to use during her marriage to him. She took 2 steps to the side, pulling away from him. The man's clear eyes narrowed, and his noble and introverted temperament suddenly turned cold. His powerful aura made it impossible for people to retreat. Lu Xining glanced at the time and said softly, "Nuonuo, brother is going home, say goodbye to brother." Ji Chao and Ji Zhe were both reluctant to leave. The latter even asked Jimai directly, "Dad, can we stay here today?" The man stood in the light and said, "No." Ji Chao also wanted to stay, and he lowered his head in frustration when he heard him say that, but he did not forget to comfort Ji Zhe, "Brother, we can come again tomorrow." Lu Nuonuo was also reluctant to leave them, and she looked at her mother for help. Lu Xining sighed and squatted down to hold the 3 children. "Xiao Chao, Xiao Zhe, Mom will pick you up from school tomorrow, okay? Nuonuo, be good, brother has to go to school tomorrow, and Mom will take you to pick up brother from school tomorrow." The 3 little people nodded obediently. Jimai leaned against the door, his black hair blowing down his forehead, and he looked at them without saying a word. Lu Nuonuo was helping Ji Chao and Ji Zhe pack their school bags. Jimai's emotionless voice sounded from behind her, "Do you think you can take away the custody like this?" She turned around, and the man's drooping eyelashes were thick and long, and there was a sneer at the corner of his mouth. Lu Xining said lightly, "I just want to spend more time with the 2 children." The man's deep eyes, like 10,000 years of ice, seemed to be able to see through her soul. His eyes drifted to Lu Nuonuo, "Complicated and difficult to discern, since you have already given birth to a daughter with another man, why do you care about my children?" Jimai changed the subject and said sharply, "Lu Xining, people should not be too greedy." Lu Xining was so angry that her chest rose and fell violently. She glanced at the children in the room with concern, arranged for someone to come and watch, and then pulled Jimai's arm to the study. "Jimai, what else did you do besides providing tadpoles?" "I was pregnant for 10 months, I was the one who fed the children, I was the one who took them to the hospital when they were sick, and I was the one who took care of them personally for 4 years. After being a father for 2 years, you won't forget the 4 years of neglecting the 2 children, right? Who was on a business trip on the children's birthday? Who never attended the parents' meeting at the children's kindergarten? It's you." Lu Xining gritted her teeth, with suppressed anger in her eyes. "Jimai, who is greedy?" The man was speechless by her series of words. The woman's cheeks flushed with excitement, and she turned away when he looked at her. Ji Mai's voice was hoarse. Since you care so much about the two children, why did you prefer to divorce without their custody? Lu Xining sneered, is it me who doesn't want to? How could I, an orphan, win over you, the heir of the Ji family? Ji Mai subconsciously replied, then if you don't divorce, then. There was a silence in the study. Both of them thought of the unpleasantness of the divorce. At that time, Lu Xining took the initiative to propose a divorce, but Ji Mai did not agree, and made a harsh statement that if she wanted a divorce, she had to give up the custody of the two children, otherwise the divorce would be impossible. She was pregnant with a daughter at the time, and Ji Mai did that again. She was so frustrated that she couldn't live with him anymore. Lu Xining herself is a doctor. As long as she thinks of her husband taking her twin sons to see the mistress, her emotions fluctuate greatly. This is not conducive to nurturing the fetus. Before becoming a mother, she must first become herself. No matter what, this marriage must be divorced. Lu Xining lowered her eyes and looked at the floor of the study, with a moist light in the corners of her eyes. A sour feeling paralyzed her heart and affected her breathing. After a long silence, she slowly spoke. I am getting a divorce, not because I don't want them, but because I don't want you. I don't want you, Ji Mai. Episode 22 Mom, Save Dad. 1/2. Ji Mai's heart suddenly twitched. His ears buzzed, and the world was quiet. He could not hear Lu Xining's voice, nor the child's voice. He seemed to have fallen from a volcano to a glacier in an instant, and his limbs were powerless. After a while, he turned his back, his breathing gradually stabilized, and he returned to his previous state, but his voice was colder and more ruthless than before. I won't give you custody of the child. Lu Xining thought of how he had just returned home with Lu Sisi to meet the elders, and she had been married to him for 5 years. After the child was born, she begged him to accompany her back to Yuqiao village to worship her grandmother, but he refused in every possible way. This difference. Sure enough, love and hate are too obvious. Lu Xining suppressed the discomfort in her heart. For the sake of the child, she couldn't make things too awkward with Ji Mai now. She asked him, what will it take for you to give me the custody? Ji Mai's eyes were burning, no matter what, I won't give it to you. Lu Xining was furious, you. He glared at her, I won't let them call someone else dad. She took a deep breath and looked at him without dodging, you don't want them to call someone else dad, but I want them to call someone else mom. Ji Mai frowned, when did I let them call someone else mom? You're the one who divorced and remarried, don't blame me. Lu Xining snorted, who knows? Ji Mai turned around and looked at her sinisterly, Lu Xining, please explain clearly, when did I let them call someone else mom? Lu Xining walked towards the door, whatever you say is what it is. Ji Mai was left alone inside, his fists unclenched, and when he unclenched his fists, the tight string in his head tightened his nerves. His headache started again. His vision was blurred for a moment, he rubbed his eyebrows, and waited until he could see clearly before walking towards the door. Lu Xining's hand just opened the study door, and he felt a weight at his feet, and 2 adults and 1 child fell in. She and the man behind her both looked at the child. Ji Mai, Ji Chao, Ji Zai. Lu Xining, Lu Nuonyuo. Children are naturally afraid of their parents calling their full names. The 3 looked at each other and got up in a hurry. They looked at the sky and the ground, but not at their parents. Lu Nuonyuo took the initiative to act cute, pulled Lu Xining's trouser legs and shook them, and said coquettishly, Mom, do you want candy? The twin brothers looked at Ji Mai, stood straight, smiled embarrassedly, and said, Dad, we're done. Ji Mai, Lu Xining. These 3 little ancestors really know how to manipulate their parents' hearts. Lu Xining carried Lu Nuonyuo and sent them out. After the car drove away, she carried the children into the house, but she didn't expect to hear the crying of Ji Chao and Ji Zai as soon as she entered the door. She hurried out and saw Ji Chao open the car door and run down. The little guy burst into tears, Mom, Dad fainted. Lu Xining hugged him, patted his back soothingly, and asked the secretary who got off the car, what happened? Yan Dong hurriedly asked for help, Mr. Ji hasn't slept for 2 days. He suddenly fainted just now. Madam, please save him. Ji Chao also cried, Mom, save Dad. Lu Xining comforted him and looked at Yan Dong, help him in first. 10 minutes later. Ji Mai woke up slowly, his vision was blurred. As soon as he opened his eyes, he met her delicate profile. Her hands fell on him again and again. He lowered his eyes and found that he was not wearing a shirt. Lu Xining was retracting the needles in his body, his eyes focused. The room was brightly lit. At the door, Ji Chao and Ji Zai cried with red eyes. Lu Xining took back all the needles, and the secretary hurried forward to put on Ji Mai's shirt. After everything was done, the children were allowed to come in. Afraid that the children would see his pale face, Lu Xining turned off the headlights and left only a bedside warm lamp. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe cried as soon as they came in, "Dad." Ji Mai looked at their frightened faces and touched their faces distressfully. "I'm sorry, Dad scared you." Ji Chao looked up at Lu Xining. "Mom, is Dad okay?" Lu Xining nodded. She wiped the tears of the two children and said softly, "Dad needs to rest. Xiao Chao will take his brother to bed first, okay?" Ji Mai was always 3 points more gentle in front of his children. He touched their heads. "Be good, Dad is fine, you go to bed with Mom first." Ji Chao and Ji Zhe looked back every few steps. Lu Xining led them out of the guest room, leaving Yan Dong to take care of him. When closing the door, she glanced at Ji Mai, who was leaning against the head of the bed with his eyes closed. Half of his face was shrouded in shadow, and his profile was clearly outlined. Sensing her gaze, he slowly raised his eyes and met hers. In the end, they both avoided each other's sight without saying a word. The family doctor of the Ji family hurried over and gave Ji Mai a full-body examination, and found that his condition had stabilized. "Mr. Ji, your condition this time is much better than before. Which medical expert treated you? I want to learn from him." Ji Mai had fainted before. The physical condition of the two children was not very good. Colds and fevers were common. Every time, they only recognized him and did not let others get close. In the 2 years when Lu Xining was away, he took care of the children himself. Except for business trips, he basically spent all his time on the two children. Ji Mai did not say it was Lu Xining. He was puzzled about her acupuncture skills, but Yan Dong on the side was hesitant to speak. Yan Dong said ambiguously, "It's a Chinese medicine doctor who uses acupuncture." The family doctor's eyes lit up and wanted to ask who it was. Ji Mai had physical problems for a long time. It took an hour to ease each time. This time he woke up in 10 minutes. As his personal doctor, he was very curious about who was so capable. Ji Mai didn't say anything, and Yan Dong didn't know what to say. After making sure that there was nothing wrong with his body, he sent the family doctor away. After Lu Xining coaxed the 3 children to sleep, she went downstairs with the sleep-aiding incense. She knocked on the door, and it was Yan Dong who opened the door. She handed him the incense and said, "Light it up, it can relieve headaches." Yan Dong took it and said, "Madam, do you want to go in and see President Ji?" Lu Xining's voice came into Ji Mai's ears from the door. The voice was cold and emotionless. "There is no need." The man closed his eyes and said sarcastically. Yan Dong thought about the boss's appearance in the house, and then looked at Lu Xining's ruthless eyes. An idea suddenly came to his mind, so he acted awkwardly. "Madam, my girlfriend is in the hospital, and I have to accompany her. Can I ask you to take care of President Ji?" Lu Xining was about to refuse when the incense was stuffed back into her hand. "No matter what, Mr. Ji is the biological father of the 2 young masters. Madam, just do it for the sake of the children." An angry man's voice came from the room, "Yan Dong." Yan Dong gritted his teeth and tried his best. The bicycle turned into a motorcycle. He bowed to Lu Xining, "Sorry for the trouble, madam." After saying that, he ran away. Inside the room, Ji Mai's emotions fluctuated violently. His handsome eyes flickered like obsidian at this moment. He gritted his teeth and looked at the secretary, who ran away with a guilty conscience. Lu Xining came in with incense. She put the incense on the table next to the bed, not too close. The pleasant smell was not as heavy as sandalwood, nor as pungent as perfume. It was light and smelled good, which made people gradually calm down and relax. After putting it, she planned to leave. Ji Mai's voice rang again, "Thank you." Lu Xining didn't look back, "Thank the 2 children. If it weren't for them, I might not have saved you." The man's mouth was bitter. "Indeed, if I die, the custody of the children will only belong to you." Unknowingly, she had saved him 3 times. Lu Xining didn't want to argue with the patient, so she left the guest room quickly. In the quiet room, the man leaned against the bed, his thin lips tightly pursed under his high-nose bridge, exuding a cold and lonely atmosphere. Lu Xining. Episode 23. He came out of the Lu family bathroom. The next day, Ji Chao and Ji Zhe went straight to the guest room after washing up. Ji Mai rarely had insomnia last night. He looked thoughtfully at the burnt incense on the bedside table. When the child came in, he had just come out of the bathroom after taking a shower. He was wearing clean clothes that Yan Dong brought early in the morning. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe each held one of his legs, looked up at him, and breathed a sigh of relief after confirming that he was fine. Lu Nuonyua was a step slower than them. She looked at his 2-leg pendants and pursed her lips. "Oh no, uncle only has 2 legs, and she has no legs to hold." hesitate for a moment. Nuonuo reached out to Jimai. Her face, which had just been wiped with fragrance, was white and rosy, tender, and particularly tender. She murmured, "Uncle, hold me." Jimai thought for 2 seconds and picked her up. If their father had held other children, Ji Chao and Ji Zhe would have been jealous, but since it was Lu Nuonuo, they felt it was okay. Since their sister was young, her father should hold her. Lu Nuonuo put her arm around Jimai's neck, waved to her 2 brothers, and reminded them, "Brother is going to school, eat." The housekeeper had already prepared breakfast. When Lu Xining came out of the elevator, Jimai and the 3 little guys were already sitting at the dining table. She promised the 2 children that she would take her sister to school. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe were so happy. Little Lu Nuonuo was also very excited. She put her candy bag on her back in advance and asked Lu Xining to pin 2 cute rabbit hairpins on her 2 little ones. After breakfast, Lu Xining held Ji Zhe's hand, and Ji Chao held Lu Nuonuo's hand, and they sat in the back seat of her family's car together. Next to the black Maybach. Yan Dong looked at the boss who was alone, and hurriedly opened the back door of the car. Because of what happened last night, he was too guilty to look at him. As soon as he got in the car, Jimai sneered. Yan Dong's heart trembled. He didn't hear the words of deducting bonus, and his heart was finally relieved. At the entrance of the kindergarten, Ji Chao and Ji Zhe held Lu Nuonuo's hand and proudly introduced her to their classmates as their sister. Lu Xining followed behind with a gentle look. "Ji Chao, your mother and sister are so beautiful. Ji Zhe, your parents are the most beautiful parents I have ever seen. Your sister is so cute, I wish I had such a cute sister." Lu Nuonuo responded to everyone's praise with a bright smile, and she also took out candies from her small bag to share with everyone. She divided them and shouted, "Hello, brother, hello, sister." The little girl pointed at Ji Chao and them, smiled at the others with her pink little face, and said proudly, "My brother." Who of the children could resist the temptation of candy? One by one, they said that they would be very good to Ji Chao and Ji Zhe in the future. Lu Nuonuo smiled with satisfaction. Brother's friendship, Nuonuo will protect it. Lu Xining looked at the little girl with some amusement. She didn't know that her daughter had such a community cow side. She was wondering before, why did this little girl put so many candies in her small bag before going out? It turned out to be for her 2 brothers. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe were also very moved. Lu Nuonuo left her favorite pink candies to Ji Chao and Ji Zhe. For the first time, Ji Chao and Ji Zhe were reluctant to go to kindergarten. Lu Nuonuo waved and blew them a kiss at the door. "Brother, you guys are fine." After sending her son home, Lu Xining prepared to take her daughter home. Before getting in the car, the little girl suddenly ran to Jimai and waved at him. The man was puzzled but still squatted down. Lu Nuonuo felt that since her brother had kissed her, she couldn't miss Jimai. "Uncle, you are fine too." Jimai felt the softness on one side of her cheek, touched her hair, and said softly, "Well, Nuonuo has to be fine too." After Lu Nuonuo said goodbye to him, she trotted back to Lu Xining. On the way to the company, Jimai felt something in his pocket and reached out to touch it. It was 3 pink candies. He leaned back in his chair and was stunned for a long time before he came back to his senses. His black eyes warmed up and the coldness in his eyes gradually faded. He put the candy back in his pocket, and his good mood was visible to the naked eye. Time passed in a flash. As soon as the school bell rang, Ji Chao and Ji Zhe ran towards the kindergarten gate with their small school bags packed in advance. When Lu Xining came this morning, she had left her photos and contact information at the kindergarten, and the teacher also knew that she was the mother of Ji Chao and Ji Zhe. Lu Nuonuo let go of her mother's hand and ran towards Ji Chao and Ji Zhe. This time she threw herself into Ji Zhe's arms, and the latter was very surprised. He looked at her excitedly, "Sister." Lu Nuonuo raised her eyes, and her smile was brighter than a sunflower, "Brother." Ji Chao was also very happy that his brother and sister had a good relationship. He held one hand each and walked towards Lu Xining. The process of picking up the children today went smoothly. In a red sports car opposite, Lu Sisi glared at Ji Chao and Ji Zhe, who were close to Lu Xining, with a gloomy face. They are really ungrateful people who can't be tamed even after 2 years. In this case, don't blame her for being cruel. 8:00 in the evening. Jimai came to pick up the children on time. Back to the Ji family villa. Ji Chao took out the things that Lu Xining gave him from his school bag, handed it to Jimai, and said, "Dad, Mom said this can help you fall asleep." They followed the housekeeper back to the room, took a shower and went to bed. In the study on the other side, Jimai sat on the sofa and stared at the box of incense for a long time. The next evening, when Lu Xining went to pick up the children from school again, Ji Chao took out a velvet gift box from his school bag and handed it to her. "Mom, this is a gift from Dad." He touched his hair and said embarrassedly, "I didn't remember what merit or reward Dad said." Lu Xining understood immediately. The box of incense she asked Ji Chao to bring him yesterday was a calming incense she made herself, which can help sleep and relieve psychological anxiety caused by fatigue. Whenever Lu Xining thought of the day when Ji Mai was in a coma and Ji Chao and Ji Zhe were panicked and helpless, her heart couldn't help but tighten. She asked someone to check Ji Mai's situation in the past 2 years. He didn't lie. In the past 2 years, he really did everything for his 2 sons. In addition to work, he accompanied his children and took on the responsibility of a father. This is also the reason why she chose to help him. She couldn't bear to let the 2 children go through that scene again. Lu Xining took the velvet box and opened it. Inside was a blue diamond necklace, exquisite and gorgeous, and it was worth a lot at first glance. Just like every gift she received in the 5 years of her secret marriage. It came from the same jewelry designer. Whenever Ji Mai gave a gift, he would choose jewelry and let the secretary give jewelry of different values according to the other party's identity. This is the case when giving gifts to female customers. It is also the same when giving gifts to her, his wife. Lu Xining laughed at herself. In his heart, there was no difference between her and those female customers in essence. She touched Ji Chao and Ji Zhe's heads. Their short black hair draped over their foreheads made them look particularly well-behaved and sensible. Lu Xining, "Xiao Chao, thank your dad for your mom." After accepting the gift, he would not owe her anything. After returning to Ji's house from having dinner at their mom's house, Ji Chao and Ji Zhe were in a good mood, and they were jumping as they walked. Dad sent them to school, and mom and sister picked them up from school. For them, this kind of life was something they had never dared to think about before. Even Ji Zhe hadn't thought about Lu Sisi for a long time. He was immersed in the world of toys that Aunt Ming Yuan bought for him. He could receive new toys every day. This feeling was great for him. Friday came quickly. Lu Xining took the 3 children out for dinner. Unexpectedly, as soon as he entered the restaurant, he saw Ji Mai and Lu Sisi, accompanied by the elders of the Lu family, and the group was talking and laughing. Ji Zhe's eyes lit up. "Brother, look, that's Dad." Episode 24. Ex-husband is going to get the marriage certificate? Compared to his excitement and happiness, Ji Chao's heart tightened, and he looked at Lu Xining with some worry. Lu Nuonyuo also hugged her neck tightly, and her fair little face came over to touch her cheek, and spoke softly. "Nuonyuo loves Mom the most." Lu Xining smiled comfortingly. "Mom is fine." She led them to the reserved box. During the time, they passed by Ji Mai's box and vaguely heard words such as "select a date," "2 families have dinner," and "get the marriage certificate." Lu Xining walked forward with the child without looking around. And did not notice that the man in the box was looking at her. Although Ji Zhe is playful, he listens to his brother very much. When he wanted to go find his father but was stopped by Ji Chao, he knew that it was not suitable to see Ji Mai at the moment, and he stayed with Lu Xining at ease. The 3 little ones eat very well. Ji Chao would pick up food for Lu Nuonyuo, and Ji Zhe would follow suit. The relationship between the 3 siblings became deeper and deeper. When leaving the restaurant, the black Maybach had already stopped at the door, and the car window rolled down, revealing Ji Mai's stern profile. There were some more emotions in his eyes when he looked at Lu Xining that she couldn't see clearly, but she didn't investigate further. Tomorrow is the weekend again. She wanted the 2 children to stay with her for 2 days, but Ji Mai said that they would go back to the old house tomorrow. Lu Xining could only see them off to the car. She walked back with her daughter in her arms, and the driver was already waiting for them. The man saw that she left without asking anything, and his heart sank a little bit, and there was a bottomless darkness in his eyes. A week later, Lu Xining accelerated the preparation of custody documents. After spending this time together, she could feel that Ji Chao and his family were becoming more and more dependent on her, and she also hinted whether they were willing to live with her. Although the child was hesitant, she did not resist. This gave her more confidence. Even if she didn't win the lawsuit this time, as long as Ji Mai and Lu Sisi got married, according to Lu Sisi's temperament, she would definitely get pregnant immediately in order to secure her position as the young lady of the Ji family. When Ji Mai has other children, she will still have a chance. Ming Yuan was stunned for a long time before she came back to her senses when she heard her idea. She was very happy for Lu Xining. "Ningning, although you said you hated your ex-husband before, there was hatred and residual love, but now you have changed." Ming Yuan and his assistant were waiting at the elevator door. The elevator arrived and she went straight in. Wearing a baseball cap, sunglasses, and a mask, she didn't notice that there were people in the elevator at all. She put on headphones and lowered her head to continue the video with Lu Xining. You actually expect your ex-husband to get married to the mistress? I can't believe it. After chatting with Lu Xining for a while, she said she wanted to video chat with Lu Nuonuo, and the little guy came up and called her godmother sweetly. When chatting with children, adults always can't help but muffle their voices. Ming Yuan is no exception. Suddenly, Lu Nuonuo's surprised words came into her ears, Uncle. Ming Yuan? She turned around and met Ji Mai's gloomy and indifferent eyes. Her heart skipped a beat, and a bad feeling exploded in her mind. She was glad that she was fully armed and wearing headphones during the video. She turned around stiffly and prayed that Ji Mai didn't know who she was. But the next second, a man's low voice came, Miss Ming. Ming Yuan. It's over. That night, a black Maybach appeared downstairs of Lu Xining's house. Lu Nuonuo was lying on the sofa by the French window in the master bedroom. When she saw the man leaning against the car, her eyes lit up. She looked at the bathroom door where she was taking a shower, hesitated for a while, and ran out quietly. She stepped on slippers, holding the little deer chair, and came to the elevator door, stepped on the chair and pressed the elevator button. The elevator went from the 3rd floor to the 1st floor. She came out holding the little deer chair, walked to the door, stepped on the chair again, and pressed the video intercom by the door. Soon, the door of the house opened, and the courtyard door outside also opened. Lu Nuonuo used a chair to hold the door, changed her silver crystal shoes in the entrance, and ran out happily. Ji Mai was about to leave when he saw the gate of the courtyard open. A small figure was running towards him. Lu Nuonuo hugged Ji Mai's legs, looked up at him excitedly, and her voice was soft, as if she was acting coquettishly. The little girl kept calling him, Uncle, Uncle. She opened her arms to Ji Mai and asked for a hug. When she was picked up, she kicked her legs happily, hugged Ji Mai's neck, and leaned over to look at the back seat of the car. Lu Nuonuo shouted to the back seat of the car, Brother? The little person in his arms smelled of shower gel, and there was a faint smell of milk powder that had just been drunk. It was fragrant and smelled good. Ji Mai saw that she was wearing a one-piece pajamas, frowned slightly, took the suit jacket from the back seat of the car and wrapped her tightly. He explained, My brother is at home. Lu Nuonuo was wrapped in a suit jacket, revealing her fair and tender little face. She blinked her eyes and suddenly realized. It turned out that her cheap dad came to see her specially. Uncle, are you here to see Nuonuo? Before Ji Mai could answer, his cheek softened and he received a kiss from the little guy, with a bright smile. Upstairs bedroom. Lu Xining came out and didn't see Lu Nuonuo, and her heart tightened. Nuonuo? She called her daughter's name while taking out her mobile phone to check the surveillance. When she saw her take the elevator downstairs and go out, her face suddenly turned pale. She didn't bother to put on her coat and hurried downstairs to find the child. Ji Mai was holding the child and walking into the house. Seeing the woman rushing out in slippers, he felt that the scene in front of him was very familiar. Just a few minutes ago, the little guy in his arms was also like this. It's really a real mother and daughter. When Lu Xining saw the daughter in Ji Mai's arms, her nervous and worried mood relaxed, and her legs suddenly seemed to lose all strength. If Ji Mai hadn't pulled her, she would have fallen to the ground. She stood up tremblingly, Thank you, thank you. Ji Mai pulled her arm, and a cold wind blew. Lu Xining, who was wearing a suspender nightgown, had goosebumps on her arms. Lu Nuonuo reached out to Lu Xining, Mom. Lu Nuonuo, who told you to run downstairs alone? Do you know that, Mom? Lu Xining's voice was crying. She never expected that her daughter would suddenly run downstairs. This had never happened in the past. Seeing that Lu Xining had not recovered her strength and was about to come over to hug her daughter, he looked at her unhappily, and his voice was full of reproach. Aren't you afraid of dropping the child like this? Lu Xining just wanted to hug her daughter in her arms quickly. The little girl also noticed that her mother was in a bad mood and leaned over to hug Lu Xining. The man did not let go of Lu Nuonuo's hand, worried that she would drop the child. The other hand was still holding the woman who had not fully recovered her strength. The posture between the three people was a bit weird. Seeing the goosebumps on Lu Xining's arms, he held the baby in one hand and grabbed her with the other hand and went directly into the house, taking her to sit on the sofa. Lu Nuonuo threw herself into Lu Xining's arms, rubbed her face with her soft cheeks, and gently patted her chest. Mom is not afraid, Nuonuo is here. Lu Xining's expression was serious. Lu Nuonuo, who told you to sneak out? Didn't Mom tell you not to leave the room? Lu Nuonuo also realized that she had made a mistake. She lowered her head in frustration and admitted her mistake first. I'm sorry, Mom. Her daughter was only over 1 year old, and she didn't think of this possibility. Seeing her bowing her head to admit her mistake, Lu Xining couldn't bear to scold her. She held the little one to sit on her lap and slowed down her voice. Mom should also apologize to Nuonyuo. She shouldn't leave Nuonyuo alone in the room. Lu Nuonyuo shook her head and felt that her mother was not wrong. She was still wearing Jimai's suit, and her little face tucked into the suit. She explained in a low voice, Uncle is downstairs. Nuonyuo went to pick up her brother. Lu Xining's eyes couldn't help but feel sour and slightly red. So Nuonyuo went to pick up her brother. You are such a good girl, but next time you can't run out in the middle of the night by yourself. Mom will be worried, understand? The little guy nodded obediently. Lu Xining then looked at Jimai and asked him why he came so late, but the man said he forgot that the two children were not here today. She was full of question marks. Episode 25, Ji Zotza coaxes the child and deceives his ex-wife. 1/2. Lu Nuonyuo is small, nestled in Lu Xining's arms. Hearing his words, the little girl's dark eyes widened, and she pouted, unable to believe that adults would lie to such a cute child like her. He had just told her that her brother was at home, but now he said he didn't know that her brother was not with her mother. Lu Nuonyuo turned her face and looked at him aggrievedly with a pair of harmless eyes. Uncle, you lied to the child. Being stared at by her as if she were a liar, Jimai's ears felt a little hot. The little guy's soft face was puffed up like a little pufferfish. It gave him a sense of familiarity. He rubbed the little guy's black and thick hair and promised, on weekend mornings, Uncle will ask someone to send a brother to play with you. Lu Nuonyuo, who had a brother brain, immediately smiled. She stretched out 2 fingers and shook them, looking into Jimai's eyes, and said expectantly, play for 2 days. Jimai responded, okay, 2 days. The little girl's eyes were full of spirit and smiles. She turned back and hugged Lu Xining's neck, and said coquettishly, Mom, I'm sleepy. Lu Xining kissed her daughter's face, which was white and tender, as smooth and translucent as a peeled egg. Mom will carry you back to sleep. She turned her head to look at Jimai and said nothing. The intention of driving her away was obvious, and Jimai also saw it. Watching the man leave, she carried her daughter upstairs. Before going to bed, the little guy snuggled into her arms and raised his head, rubbing her cheek affectionately, with dependence and love in his eyes. Nuonyuo loves Mom. Lu Xining's heart was moved by her words. Mom loves you, too. After coaxing the little one in her arms to sleep, she turned on her phone and checked the surveillance cameras in every corner of the villa, and saw how the little one got from the room to Jimai's side. Lu Xining watched her daughter and Jimai act like a spoiled child in the surveillance video. Even though she didn't know he was her father, her daughter would unconsciously get close to him, trust him, and reach out to him for a hug. This is blood. She blew the cold wind on the balcony for a while, sorted out her chaotic thoughts, and then went back to the room. She lay by the bed for a while, and when her body was warm, she got into the quilt and hugged the little one who was sleeping sweetly. In a blink of an eye, it was the weekend. Early in the morning, Lu Nuonyuo was looking forward to the arrival of Ji Chao and Ji Zhe. It was just that time passed by minute by minute. The Ji family's car did not show up, and Ji Chao's phone could not be reached. The little girl lay on the sofa in the living room, her little face resting on her little hands, and her big watery eyes stared at the gate of the courtyard. She looked back and asked frequently, brother hasn't come yet? Lu Xining was worried that something had happened to them. Since Jimai had promised to send the 2 children over, he would not change his mind at the last minute. She still had some trust in him. She held her daughter in her arms and said slowly, don't worry, Nuabao. Brother may have been delayed by something. Mom will call and ask. Lu Nuonyuo nodded obediently, wait for brother. Lu Xining called Ji Chao again, but it was still busy. After hesitating again and again, she still dialed the string of numbers that were engraved in her heart 2 years ago. The phone rang 3 times and was picked up by the person on the other end. Jimai's low voice came. She tightened her hand holding the phone and took the initiative to name her identity. I'm Lu Xining. Jimai glanced at the unfamiliar number in the phone, paused for a moment before continuing, what's the matter? There was a faint sound of a doctor's rounds on his side. Lu Xining's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that the child was sick? You promised Nuonyuo that you would send the 2 children over today. Jimai remembered that there was such a thing. 2 days of overtime work made his headache symptoms worse. He pinched his eyebrows and said sorry. Lu Xining asked anxiously, I heard the doctor's voice. Is the child in the hospital? Jimai, don't hide it from me. She thought of Ji Chao sitting alone on the terrace of the hospital, weak and helpless, and her heart ached every time she thought of it. Ji Mai heard the anxiety in her voice and explained, no, Cece was hospitalized after a car accident, so I brought the two children to see her. Lu Xining's heart returned to its original place. The little person in her arms looked at her eagerly, and Lu Xining's heart softened and she kissed her face. She said to Ji Mai, when will you send the children over? A morning passed. Lu Nuonyuo has been looking forward to the arrival of her two brothers. Lu Xining didn't want to see her sad. If it's not convenient for you, I can come and pick up the children. This time it was indeed Ji Mai who forgot, because he was busy with work. I'm afraid it won't work today. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe have to go to Lu's house with me. They won't leave until after dinner. I'll take them there tomorrow morning. The little girl hid her face in her hood, staring at her phone eagerly, and tugged at her sleeve with her little hand. Lu Xi hugged the child and kissed and coaxed her, my dear, your two brothers are busy today, so they will come to play with you tomorrow. The little girl pursed her lips, her eyes turned red, and she muttered to the phone in a very aggrieved way, Uncle lied. She got down from Lu Xining's arms and ran towards the stairs. Nuonyuo. Lu Xining quickly threw away the phone, chased after her, and hugged her. She patted her back gently, brother really has something to do today, and mom will take you to the amusement park to ride the carousel later, okay? The soft little girl stretched out her hands and grabbed the collar of Lu Xining's clothes tightly, crying and shaking her head. Her little face was red from crying, and her voice was soft and aggrieved. Uncle lied to me. Lu Xining didn't care about anything else. She tried every way to coax the little girl. Not long after, she fell asleep on her shoulder. She cried so hard that there were several red lines between her eyebrows. Her forehead was sweating. Her hair was soft and stuck to her face. Her clothes were a little cold. She took the child upstairs to change clothes. After her daughter fell asleep, she went downstairs to get her mobile phone and went upstairs. The call has not been hung up. On the other side of the phone, Ji Mai has been waiting in the corridor. The movement on the other side was intermittent. The little girl cried aggrievedly. Lu Xining coaxed the child, and the footsteps of them going upstairs and Lu Xining going downstairs. Until her voice sounded again from the other side of the phone. Lu Xining's voice was tired. She didn't argue with him, let alone mock him. She just said something lightly and hung up the phone. Ji Mai, don't promise the child if you can't do it. The phone was busy again. Ji Mai leaned on his knees in the hospital corridor, his slender figure showing a bit of fatigue, and his brain ached. His mind was full of the little guy's dependence on hugs that night, and the expectation of hearing Ji Chao and Ji Zhe going to play with her on the weekend. Immediately afterwards, the two sentences that Lu Nuonyuo said on the phone just now kept echoing in his ears, and every word was tightening his heart. Uncle lied. Uncle lied to me. He could even see her drooping head and the two little chirps shaking with grievance. Ji Mai stood up straight, tall and straight as a green cypress. Thinking of the soft and cute little guy, his pair of beautiful black eyes were stained with gentle moisture, and he returned to the ward and said goodbye to the Lu family in the room. Lu Cece's hands under the quilt clenched the sheets, biting her lower lip and asked hurriedly, aren't you going to accompany me? Ji Mai apologized. You should take good care of your injuries. If you need anything, you can contact Yandong. Lu Cece struggled to get out of bed to pull him, but was afraid of annoying him, so she spoke carefully, where are you going? Ji Mai led the two children and walked towards the door of the ward. I promised a little girl at home, but I forgot. I have to apologize to her now. Episode 26. Little dumpling, it's hard to coax you. An hour later. Ji Mai brought the brothers Ji Chao to the downstairs of Lu Xining's house, only to learn that she had gone out with Lu Nuonyuo. He dialed the number she had called before, but it was always busy. This reminded him of 2 years ago. That night, Ji Mai brought his two sons home but didn't see her. After he got through on the phone, he got a divorce. Since then, that number has never been dialed again. The man's hands on his side tightened, and after seeing the two children, the boredom accumulated in his heart eased a little. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe were very curious about where their mother and sister had gone. They asked Ji Mai, but the latter couldn't answer. He took the children back to the car and asked Yandong to check Lu Xining's identity. It took a long time before he got the location of her and the children. Jingzhou Children's Playground. Lu Xining had just finished riding the carousel with her daughter. The little girl was not in high spirits. Even an ice cream cone could not make her happy. She carried the little girl to the restaurant and sat down. My dear, can you tell me why you are unhappy? Lu Nuonyuo sat in her arms, lowered her head and swung her legs, her little face full of frustration. Mom, my brother doesn't like me. How could that be? My two brothers like Nuonuo the most. Although her daughter is young, her vocabulary is a little more than other children of the same age, and she is more sensitive to adult matters. Lu Xining talked to her a lot, and the little girl seemed to understand but not quite. Fortunately, the rain was over and the sky was clear, and she smiled more than before. She accompanied her to play a few more projects, and when she was tired, she carried her to the parking lot. The little girl had a pink pig balloon tied to her hand, and her little face was red because she was having fun. She hugged Lu Xining's neck and said that she would bring her two brothers to play next time and buy them balloons. Lu Xining agreed to all of them. However, as soon as they walked to the entrance of the amusement park, they saw the man with Ji Chao and Ji Zhe. He was wearing a white shirt and black pants, simple and elegant, handsome appearance and strong aura, which attracted the attention of people around him. Ji Chao waved at Lu Nuonuo, sister. The little guy rarely got out of his mother's arms immediately, still hugging her neck, with his soft little face against her neck. Lu Xining tilted his head, seeing that his brother is unhappy. Lu Nuonuo said honestly, happy. But her face obviously did not have the warmth and excitement of the past. She leaned obediently in Lu Xining's arms and looked at Ji Mai from afar. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe ran over. The former asked in confusion, Mom, what's wrong with my sister? Lu Xining, my sister is tired from playing. Ji Mai wanted to talk to the little guy, but the latter turned her face away, holding her mother's neck tightly with her little hands, and just didn't look at him. Lu Xining took Ji Chao and Ji Zhe home and asked the housekeeper to prepare fruits and snacks for them. Ji Zhe was the happiest one to eat. Ji Chao noticed that Lu Nuonuo was in a bad mood, reached out and touched her forehead, and then checked himself, not sure if she was sick. Lu Xining was making milk for her daughter in the kitchen. He looked at Ji Mai for help. Dad, is my sister sick? She looks uncomfortable. The little girl sat on the carpet in the toy house and poked her favorite doll with her little finger. Her big watery eyes did not look at Ji Mai, and she did not have her usual bright smile or the soft words uncle. Ji Mai came to sit beside her, Nuonuo. Two little chirps swayed like blooming flowers. She turned around and ignored him, holding the furry pink fox doll in her arms, burying her little face in it and not speaking. Ji Mai's heart was tied into a ball. He had never seen the little girl look so aggrieved. Nuonuo, uncle was wrong. Uncle was wrong. I forgot what I promised you. Uncle and Nuonuo apologize. I'm sorry. The world of children is very pure and simple. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Promising them but still not doing it will cause great harm to the child's young mind. Ji Mai has always been very careful to fulfill his promises to Ji Chao and Ji Zhe, and he will do his best to do what he promised them. This time, it was indeed his fault. Little Dumpling's eyelashes are long and thick. From Ji Mai's angle, he can see her angry little face. He took out the apology gift he bought and handed it to her. Nuonuo, can you forgive your uncle? Lu Nuonuo poked her head out of the fox tail, her eyes were watery, her delicate and small nose twitched, and her voice was round and cute. Uncle is lying. Ji Mai's heart softened instantly. He held the little girl in his arms gently, and Ji Chao on the side quickly handed her a tissue to wipe her tears. He said softly, Uncle promises that he will never forget the agreement with Nuonuo. Can Nuonuo forgive Uncle? The little person in his arms was so well-behaved and cute, and Ji Mai's heart was as soft as being soaked in warm spring water. Lu Nuonuo gently tugged at his sleeve with her little hand, looked at Ji Mai seriously, and said, Uncle can't lie to children in the future. Ji Mai nodded, okay. The little girl burst into laughter and lowered her head embarrassedly. His big palm rubbed her little head, and the latter picked up the gift he gave her and happily opened the gifts with her two brothers. Children's emotions come and go quickly. Lu Xining stood at the door with the prepared milk powder. She saw how Ji Mai coaxed his daughter just now. Meeting her complicated gaze, Ji Mai slowly got up and left the space in the toy house for the three little ones. Lu Xining handed the bottle to her daughter, and handed 2 glasses of freshly squeezed juice to the twins, Xiao Chao and Xiao Zhe. Play with your sister here for a while. Mom has something to say to your dad, and will come to see you later. The little girl nodded obediently as her mood improved. She raised the bottle and clinked it with her 2 brothers. Cheers, brothers. The 3 children quickly devoted themselves to disassembling and assembling the new toys. Lu Xining asked the housekeeper to guard the door and took Ji Mai to the study. She got straight to the point and expressed her thoughts. When Xiao Chao and Xiao Zhe come over in the future, I will arrange for someone to pick them up, so Mr. Ji won't have to make an extra trip. The man immediately understood what she meant. Ji Mai frowned slightly, and the small mole between his eyebrows added a sense of enchantment to his stunning face. Lu Xining's eyes flashed across the mole. There. was the place where she kissed many times during the 5 years of secret marriage. She closed her eyes and pinched her fingernails into her palm. The pain made her thoughts gradually clear, her consciousness returned, and her profile was frosty. Jimai broke his promise for Lu Cece. It was not just this time. Lu Xining spoke again, her tone calm and cold. If you have other arrangements for them temporarily, please let me know in advance. She didn't want her daughter to have too much contact with Jimai. The aggrieved little girl's disappointment this morning is still engraved in her mind and lingering. Children are too young and it is easy for them to trust the people around them. Lu Nuonuo likes both brothers. She also likes their dad. Lu Xining didn't want to think about how much blood relationship played a role in her daughter's love for Jimai. There is no doubt that Jimai likes Lu Nuonuo. If he knew that Nuonuo is his daughter. Lu Xining didn't want to face a fight for custody of his daughter before getting custody of his son. The best way is to keep the child away from him. The man had a stern face and his true emotions could not be seen, but his tense shoulders revealed the waves beneath his calm surface. Today was just an accident, I didn't mean to. Lu Xining interrupted him, you have your reasons, but please understand that I am Nuonuo's mother, and I don't want her to be unhappy. Episode 27. Protecting a shortcoming. My son calls her mom. Jimai left the Lu family with a dark face. Lu Xining stood in front of the window of the study, looking at the man's sinister back, and there seemed to be a sour feeling in her eyes, which disappeared in a flash. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe have special rooms here with Lu Xining, and the closets are full of clothes she customized for them. But the two of them still came to sleep with her holding pillows. Lu Xining was naturally reluctant to refuse. The bed in her room is very big, and it is not a problem to sleep 3 children. At this time, the 3 little ones each have a small quilt. Lu Nuonuo sleeps in the middle, and Lu Xining sleeps on the side, holding a storybook and telling them stories. Until the lights in the house dimmed. Under the tree not far downstairs, the man in the black Maybach leaned on the back of the chair with a tired face. His face was pale, and he had an unbearable headache. He was always calm and self-possessed. But he almost got angry in Lu Xining's study during the day. Jimai rubbed his eyebrows and said to the driver, go back to the company. The next day was Sunday. Lu Xining took the 3 children to the zoo to play for an afternoon, and then took them to a private restaurant for dinner in the evening. She specially asked someone to design brother and sister outfits. The matching of the same color scheme was particularly eye-catching. The son was handsome and the daughter was beautiful, which made people feel happy. But she didn't expect. Jimai was also having dinner with clients here. He was followed by Lu Cece, who had just had a car accident yesterday. She was wearing a red long skirt and black high heels, and she and Jimai entered the door one after another. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe waved to Jimai. Lu Nuonuo, who was led by them, glanced at Jimai, and continued to look down at the stone. She ignored Jimai and them and walked in with the children. Lu Xining booked the best box, which was independent in a corner, and had to pass through the poetic and picturesque Jiangnan garden in the middle. Pavilions, terraces, and fish playing quickly attracted the attention of the 3 children. Jimai looked at Lu Xining's back, his eyes as deep as ink. Today, she was wearing a water blue cheongsam with a light and graceful figure. Her figure walking between the garden pavilions was very much like the ink painting he had seen in his elder's study when he was a child. The smile when she looked down at the child was as gentle as water, attracting the attention of the opposite sex present. She caught a glimpse of someone taking a photo of her with a mobile phone. Jimai grabbed the hand of the person taking the photo, and the latter's face wrinkled in pain. He cursed, "Who are you? Let go." Jimai took his mobile phone and saw the photos taken by the man in it. His brows were furrowed and his eyes fell on him gloomily. The other party did not take a full-body picture, but a magnified part of some parts. The man's vulgarity could be seen from the shooting angle alone. Jimai's angular face was full of frost, and the look in his eyes made him feel that he was about to die. He bluffed, "What are you doing with my phone? I didn't take any photos of you. Why are you meddling in other people's business?" Jimai deleted all the photos of Lu Xining in his phone, and he exuded the coldness of wanting to throw this person into the sea to feed the fish. "I am Jimai, from Sean Group. My son calls her mom. Do you think I am meddling in other people's business?" The man widened his eyes in horror. In Jingzhou, everyone knows Sean Group, and Jimai is the top target that all the children of the aristocratic families are vying for. If you anger the Ji family, don't even think about getting by in Jingzhou. Lu Cece, who was standing aside, turned pale suddenly, and there was panic in her eyes. Jimai actually stood up for Lu Xining. Does he have this bitch in his heart? No. She won't allow it. With a click, The man's wrist was directly broken by Jimai, and he rolled on the ground in pain. While he was angry, he was more afraid of not being able to overcome him. Jimai looked down at him, his eyes like a cold sword, as if they would pierce the heart of the man on the ground in the next second. I was wrong, President G. I didn't know she was your wife. I just took 2 photos because she was pretty. I won't dare to do it again. Jimai glared at him. Do you have a backup? The man shook his head frantically. No, absolutely not. Jimai, get lost. The man immediately left the scene in a hurry. Lu Cece had already gritted her teeth in her heart, but her face was still tender and affectionate, and her words were tentative. Have you reconciled with Miss Lu? The word reconciled swirled around the tip of Jimai's tongue, and was finally buried in his heart. Jimai was certain, no, she and I will not get back together. Lu Cece's eyes were full of joy, and she pretended to be surprised. Then you just. Jimai said calmly, she is the mother of the child. So it was for Xiao Chao and Xiao Zhe. Speaking of which, Xiao Zhe secretly told me last time that he wanted me to be his mother. Lu Cece secretly observed Jimai's expression, expecting him to tell the answer he wanted from the bottom of his heart. Jimai's face did not look very good. Don't say that in the future. They have a mother, and this will never change. Not hearing the answer she wanted, Lu Cece's face turned pale, looking at Jimai's back, stomping her feet and following him. Wait for me. Jimai noticed that someone upstairs was filming him, so he slowed down his pace and glanced at the man sharply, who immediately dodged and left. Lu Cece reached out to take Jimai's arm, but the man slightly sidestepped and strode towards the private room he had agreed with the client. The episode here. The person in charge of the restaurant reported it to Lu Xining as soon as possible. When she saw the video, her hand that was picking up food for the child paused. The video ended with Lu Cece calling Jimai. The man slowed down, she quickened her pace to come to him, and reached out to hold his arm. Her chest felt numb, and her fingers trembled slightly. A heart that had been silent for a long time. It seemed that there was a sign of resurgence for a moment. She immediately turned off her phone. Lu Xining did not read it anymore. She put the phone back in her bag and continued to eat with the children. This private restaurant is her property. Except for Monkey and other family members, no one else knew about it. Mom, this is so delicious. Ji Chao ate with satisfaction, and did not forget to pick up dishes for Lu Xining and Ji Zhe. He saw Lu Nuonuo looking at him with her big watery eyes. Ji Chao shook his head at her and explained, sister can't eat it. When you grow up a little bit, you can eat this dish. Lu Nuonuo nodded ignorantly, and continued to scoop the egg custard in the bowl with a small spoon, and said to Ji Chao, brother, blow it. Ji Chao immediately blew it for her, and let her eat it when it was not hot. Lu Xining looked at her daughter's coquettish look, and her heart softened. Her thoughts that had deviated for a short time returned to the right track again. Nuonuo, be good and eat by yourself. The little guy immediately scooped a big spoonful, blew on it, and ate it all in one gulp. He showed the empty spoon to Lu Xining. Lu Nuonuo, look, Mom. Lu Xining kissed her cheek, you are so great. After praising her daughter, she also picked up meat and vegetables for Ji Chao and Ji Zhe. Lu Xining raised the corners of her mouth and said slowly, you are great too. Originally, after dinner, Lu Xining was going to send the 2 children back home in person, but she saw the man next to the black Maybach as soon as she left the restaurant. And Lu Cece, who was accompanying him. She waved to Ji Chao and Ji Zhe, and deliberately said, Xiao Chao, Xiao Zhe, come here quickly, Daddy and I are here to take you home. Episode 28. The red mark on the neck. Lu Cece's words were full of the intimacy of their relationship. She raised her eyebrows and looked at Lu Xining with pride, as if she had married into the Ji family and became the stepmother of 2 children. Lu Xining responded calmly. When it came to the 2 children, Lu Cece thought she would be angry and say something rude to her. She was ready to cry and throw herself into Jimai's arms when she scolded her, but Lu Xining ignored her. Lu Xining walked the 2 children to the car. The 2 little ones hugged Lu Nuonuo and said goodbye to Lu Xining, with reluctance written all over their bodies. Ji Chao, sister, I'll come to play with you next weekend. Ji Zhe immediately said, I'll come too. They waved goodbye to Lu Xining, and Lu Cece opened the door for them attentively, and followed them into the back seat of the car. Seeing her like this, Jimai hesitated to speak. Seeing the 2 brothers and the bad aunt get in the car together, Lu Nuonuo turned around and threw herself into Lu Xining's arms, stretching out her chubby hands. The little ball nestled in her arms, rubbing her cheek against her neck, and said in a baby voice, Mom, let's go home. Lu Xining patted her back, okay. Jimai suddenly said, wait a minute. He took out a new pink fox from a certain park from the co-pilot, walked up to Lu Nuonuo and handed it to her. "Jimai, Uncle bought it for you, do you like it?" The little girl was a little moved at first sight, but soon shook her head. Lu Nuonuo rejected him. "Thank you, Uncle, but I don't want it." She looked at the rolled-down window at the back seat of the car. Lu Sisi stared at Lu Xining with a pair of provocative eyes. Lu Nuonuo buried her head in Lu Xining's shoulder in frustration. Uncle is leading Auntie astray again to make Mom angry. Realizing that the little hand holding her was a little tight, Lu Xining touched her daughter's hair and silently comforted the little girl's anxiety. She said, "Thank you for your kindness, Mr. G. I will buy the doll for the child. You can keep this for your girlfriend." Jimai's face turned cold. "What nonsense are you talking about? How could I?" Lu Xining's eyes suddenly flashed. There were a few small ambiguous red marks on the inside of the man's shirt collar, and adults should understand. She hugged the child in her arms tightly, not wanting to listen to what he said next, and took her daughter back to the car. Lu Nuonuo's little face was lying on Lu Xining's shoulder. The eyes that were shining like obsidian moved away, and there was no closeness to Jimai in the past. He wanted to step forward but was stopped by Lu Sisi. Have you forgotten that we still have things to deal with? It's getting late, let's go back quickly." Jimai clenched the pink fox doll in his hand, his long eyelashes closed, and his thin lips pursed into a line. In the back seat of the car, Ji Chao sat in the middle, and Ji Zhe held a new toy in his hand. Both children were a little silent today. Especially Ji Chao. No matter how Lu Sisi tried to get close to him or how she said nice things to him, he was as distant as if he was talking to a strange elder. Lu Sisi was a little discouraged. She wanted to get closer to Ji Zhe, but recently Ji Zhe also began to be distant from her, which made her very unhappy. She had to put her plan on the agenda. Another car of the Ji family was parked in the back. Jimai walked towards the car behind him. Just after taking 2 steps, he heard the sound of the car door behind him opening. Ji Chao ran over with Ji Zhe. Ji Chao looked up at him. "Dad, we want to ride in the same car with you." Jimai naturally would not refuse the child. Lu Sisi, who stayed in the front car, had her skirt squeezed into a ball in her hand. The expression on her face became more hideous because of her deliberate concealment. The driver in the front seat was startled and turned his head quickly as if he didn't see it. The 2 cars drove towards Ji's house, one after the other. Faintly, there was a bang sound of a car crash. Not far in front of their car, a serious car accident occurred. When turning a corner, Ji Chao, who was leaning against the car window, exclaimed, "Dad, it's Mom's car." Jimai's dark eyes suddenly tightened, and he said in a stern voice, "Stop the car." Ji Chao and Ji Zhe also wanted to get out, but were stopped by Jimai. "You stay in the car, Dad will go and take a look." Jimai slowed down his voice, "Be obedient." In just a minute, Jimai strode towards the place where the car accident happened. Many people gathered outside and murmured, "This is too tragic. The car was hit by a truck like this. It's hard for the people inside to survive. What a sin. How could it be hit when it was fine? The family of the owner of this car must be very sad." Jimai thought of Lu Xining's appearance more than 10 minutes ago, and the cute little ball nestled in her arms, and his heart suddenly contracted. He staggered 2 steps unconsciously, and the bodyguard who followed behind him hurriedly supported him, but saw that the man had rushed into the car accident scene in the next second. The bodyguards shouted in unison, "Boss G." In the black Maybach on the roadside, Lu Sisi's face was half bright and half dark, and her eyes were filled with the secret joy of her wish being fulfilled. Lu Xining, that bitch, is finally dead. No one will ever stop her from being with Jimai again. However, seeing Jimai rushing into the scene of the car accident, Lu Sisi's jealousy and hatred grew wildly. "Jimai, you actually still care about that bitch. But not anymore. The dead can never win over the living." The driver in the front seat saw Lu Sisi's crazy look in the rearview mirror and quickly glanced away. This Miss Lu looked really scary. The black car, which was sandwiched between 2 large trucks, was smashed into a pancake. Not to mention surviving, there might not even be a complete corpse. Jimai, who realized this, felt a dull pain in his brain. Thousands of ants were devouring his sanity. He covered his twitching heart and walked towards the black car in front with difficulty but determination. However, before he got there, he vomited a mouthful of blood and fainted. The bodyguard quickly supported him and sent him to the nearest hospital. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe were sent back to Ji's home by someone. Before they went back, they did not see the unconscious Jimai, but Lu Sisi saw him. She followed him to the hospital and waited outside the operating room. After finally waiting for Ji Mai to come out, she wanted to go in and accompany him, but was stopped by Yan Dong. Miss Liu, I'll arrange a driver to take you back. I want to stay with him. Mr. Ji needs to rest, please don't embarrass us, Miss Liu. Secretary Yan, don't you know the relationship between a Yi and me? This is the time when he needs me. Sorry, Miss Liu, we are also doing what you tell us. You. With Yan Dong and the bodyguards guarding, Lu Cece had no chance to get close to Ji Mai, so she had no choice but to go back first. As soon as she got in the Lu family's car, she dialed the phone, and her voice was full of joy and excitement that could not be concealed. Uncle Scar, you did a good job on this matter. Wait for my news about the 2 children and get rid of them as soon as possible. In the silent ward, Ji Mai lay on the hospital bed with a pale face. Even though he was unconscious, his brows were still furrowed, his lips were dry, and cold sweat was dripping down his forehead. In his dream, there were flames shooting up into the sky. 1 second Lu Xining was still teasing her daughter in her arms, and the next second she was trapped in the car. Ji Mai suddenly opened his eyes and sat up in shock. Yan Dong hurriedly asked, Mr. Ji, are you okay? Are you feeling unwell? I'll ask the doctor to come. The man's voice was dry and hoarse, with a deep sense of fatigue. He asked the secretary, where are Lu Xining and the others? As early as when he received the news, Yan Dong had already arranged for someone to check. He looked at Ji Mai with eyes that seemed to want to say something but stopped. The man's heart sank to the bottom of the valley, his hands tightly grasped the bed sheets, his eyes were deep, and he could faintly see panic. Ji Mai, tell the truth. Episode 29. 5 years of marriage, she took nothing with her. The moment he heard that it was an empty car and there was no one in the car, Ji Mai's tense nerves suddenly relaxed and he passed out again. Yan Dong, Mr. Ji. It was midnight when Ji Mai woke up again. His clothes were soaked with sweat. He lifted the quilt and stood up. The bodyguard who heard the noise came in hurriedly, but he waved him out. After taking a shower and changing clothes, Ji Mai sat on the sofa in the ward in a daze. There was no light on in the room, and the moonlight outside the window sprinkled into the room. He leaned his head back on the sofa, his eyes unfocused, looking at the top of his head in silence. After dawn, Yan Dong came to find him, but found that he had fallen asleep on the sofa without even a blanket covering him. Boss Ji, I checked the surveillance. Before the first traffic light, Miss Liu should still be in the car. Before the third traffic light, the car stopped briefly at the entrance of a small alley, and then appeared at the scene of the accident. The driver got out and left in advance. Miss Liu, did you know in advance that someone was going to harm her? Yan Dong handed him the information he had urgently found last night. The driver was a drunk driver and a gambler. The drunk driver died on the spot, and the gambler was half dead and went to the hospital. All the information seemed to be a traffic accident. But Ji Mai didn't believe it. A dangerous dark light flashed across the man's delicate and cold eyes. She may not know, but she should have noticed something. After the reunion, Lu Xining was alert to everything. Ji Mai lowered his head and carefully checked the traffic surveillance on the tablet. The 2 cars were obviously heading towards Lu Xining's car, especially the middle-aged man who was driving under the influence. When he rushed over, his eyes were determined and his expression was firm. It was clear that he wanted to kill the people in the car. He did it on purpose. Realizing this, Ji Mai unconsciously exerted force on the tablet computer, with anger evident in his expression. Ji Mai looked at the family portrait in the file. Go check the child of the drunk driver. Is there anyone in the school who is secretly helping him and arranging a good school for his child? Yan Dong was stunned and immediately understood what he meant. As for the half-dead gambler, Ji Mai's narrowed eyes revealed a dangerous signal, and his eyes were unusually cold, which made his angular face even more sharp. His eyes were like sharp blades. Send it in. Yan Dong responded and honestly explained the other things. Mr. Ji, the location of Miss Liu and the child has not been found yet. People have been left in the Liu family villa and the Ming family. I will reply to you immediately if there is any news. Ji Mai's face was as deep as the dark night. When he was discharged from the hospital, he passed by Song Henian's ward. The man was lying on the bed with a pale face, which was very different from the boy 6 years ago. He looked at Song Henian thoughtfully and said to the secretary, arrange 2 people to keep an eye on this ward. Back to Ji's house. Finding that both children did not go to school, Ji Mai's face was cold and asked them why they did not go to school. Ji Chao's eyes were red. Dad, I can't get through to Mom on the phone. Ji Zhe on the side also looked like he had cried. Ji Mai hugged his 2 sons in his arms and patiently explained, Mom is fine, Dad will take you to see her on the weekend, okay? Ji Chao still had tears in his eyes. Really? Ji Mai nodded. When has dad ever lied to you? Ji Chao finally burst into laughter. He bowed his head and admitted his mistake. I'm sorry, Dad, we are worried about Mom, so we didn't go to school with the housekeeper. Ji Zai on the side also looked at him a little nervously. Ji Mai touched the two children's heads. Don't do it again. He asked the housekeeper to take the two children to the study to read, and he went back to the master bedroom and went straight to the cloakroom, where Lu Xining's clothes were still. That night 2 years ago. After Lu Xining hung up the phone, she never returned to the Ji family. She entrusted the lawyer with the divorce, including the custody of the children. They argued for a long time. She would rather not have half of the wealth given by the Ji family and take the two sons with her, but he did not agree. In the end, she compromised. She took the money given to her by the Ji family. But Yan Dong found out that she left all of it to her two sons, and when they came of age, they could take away the money and real estate. 5 years of marriage, she left nothing with her. The last time Ji Mai met her was when he got the divorce certificate at the Civil Affairs Bureau. She had lost a lot of weight and her face was pale, as if she had just recovered from a serious illness. After getting the divorce certificate, she left Jingzhou. The jewelry, bags, and dresses in the cloakroom were all classic and limited editions of the year. The jewelry alone was worth more than 1 billion. But she didn't take anything with her. Ji Mai somehow took the pajamas that Lu Xining bought for him. He vaguely remembered that the set he wore with her was a couple's outfit. It was the first gift she bought for him with her own money, but he had never worn it once. Her set was not in the Ji family's cloakroom. After coming out of the bathroom, he felt that his headache was getting worse. He lay on the bed, his brain was groggy, and he fell asleep soon. In the study next door, Ji Chao secretly packed his small school bag, put a lot of snacks in it to fill his stomach, and asked the housekeeper to fill his water cup with water. Ji Zai looked at him puzzledly. Brother? Ji Chao made a hushing gesture to him, indicating that he should not speak. After packing up everything, Ji Chao told him, Xiao Zai, I'm going to find my mother and sister, you stay at home to keep Dad calm. Ji Zai worriedly said, but Dad said it's dangerous outside, there will be bad people kidnapping children like us, and selling them to the mountains. Ji Chao put on his small school bag, hung his mobile phone around his neck, patted his brother's shoulder, and said seriously, brother will be careful. Xiao Zai, you stay at home and listen to Dad. I will come back when I find my mother and sister. Ji Chao sneaked out and took a taxi to the Lu family. The bodyguards at the door were shocked to see him, and immediately welcomed him in and notified the housekeeper. Master, why did you come here alone? Ji Chao grabbed the strap of his school bag. I came to find my mother and sister. My wife has taken the little lady out and has not been at home for a while. Master, let me take you back to the Ji family first. When my wife comes back, I will tell her immediately, okay? Ji Chao shook his head with red eyes. There was no other way. The housekeeper could only arrange people in the house first, and immediately arranged for someone to notify the Ji family. Ji Mai learned that his eldest son ran away from home to find Lu Xining, and he was so angry that his head hurt even more. He hurriedly asked someone to send him to the Lu family. Ji Zai hugged his legs. Dad, I'm going too. He knew that his father must be going to find his brother. He looked so angry when he answered the phone just now. He was afraid that his father would not be able to help but spank his brother. Ji Mai took Ji Zai to the Lu family. The housekeeper opened the door. Mr. Ji, the eldest master, is in the room upstairs. Ji Mai saw Ji Chao's small school bag on the sofa. He strode towards the upstairs room with a cold face. When he pushed the door open, he saw Ji Chao hugging Lu Xining's pillow, his shoulders twitching from crying. The anger in his heart was dispelled by the child's tears. Ji Mai called his son's name softly, Xiao Chao. Ji Chao's eyes were red from crying, and he choked. Dad, is mom, is mom. Ji Mai came to sit down beside the bed and hugged him. Xiao Chao, your mom and sister really didn't have a car accident, Dad promises you. Ji Zai also climbed onto the bed, hugged Ji Chao, and coaxed him not to cry. Ji Chao, who didn't sleep much last night, fell asleep quickly with the company of his father and brother, and Ji Zai also lay down beside him and fell asleep. Ji Mai had a headache, and he didn't notice it while coaxing himself. He closed his eyes and fell asleep, with a familiar faint fragrance in his nose. The housekeeper waited a long time for no one to come down, so he went upstairs to take a look, and saw one adult and two children sleeping on Lu Xining's bed. He took out his mobile phone, took a photo, and sent it out. When Lu Xining received the photo, she was stunned for a long time before she came back to her senses. She frowned, a little confused about the current situation. Ji Chao and Ji Zai slept in her room. She didn't think there was anything wrong, but what was this man Ji Mai doing? Episode 30, her four-piece suit is dirty. 1/2. Thinking of the red mark on Ji Mai's neck. Lu Xining's gentle face suddenly darkened, and the disgust accumulated between her eyebrows spread all over her body. She felt that her four-piece suit was dirty. Lu Xining stayed with her daughter all night last night, and various treatments brought her body temperature down to normal. Last night, she was so focused on her daughter that she didn't notice that her mobile phone was out of battery and turned off. As soon as she turned it on, she saw the photos sent by the housekeeper. She saw the message Ji Chao sent her on her phone, and was about to reply when she heard the voice of the assistant hurriedly coming. Professor Lu, Nuonuo is awake. Lu Xining hurried back to the laboratory ward. She sent a voice message while walking. The child is now in the Lu family, and with Ji Mai's protection, nothing will happen. The little girl woke up after having a fever all night. When she saw Lu Xining, she immediately pursed her lips in grievance and reached out to her for a hug. Lu Xining hugged her daughter into her arms and kissed her forehead and cheeks. She finally felt relieved after a night of worry. Don't be afraid, Nuonuo, Mom is here. The little girl hugged her neck tightly with great strength. Lu Xining did not pull away and let her hug tightly. She paced back and forth in the ward holding her daughter. Lu Nuonuo rubbed her neck with her soft face, and her voice was still weak from being sick. Mom. Lu Xining was in a trance for a moment, not understanding why her daughter suddenly called her like that. When she listened again, the child started calling her mom again. After coaxing for a while, her daughter fell asleep on her shoulder. Lu Xining wanted to put her daughter on the bed, but the child didn't let go. She had to take off her shoes and sleep with the child. She didn't sleep all night last night. Holding the soft little person in her arms, Lu Xining soon fell asleep. Lu Nuonuo opened her eyes and looked at Lu Xining in front of her. Her eyes were red. She sniffed and showed a smile that was lost and regained. Mom, Nuonuo will protect you. Always protect you. No one can bully you. She buried her head in Lu Xining's arms and fell asleep with a satisfied look on her face. On the other side of the Lu family. When Ji Mai woke up, it was already dark. He slept very soundly this time, without any nightmares, which made his spirit and energy recover. He was about to contact his secretary to talk about work when he saw a message. It was Lu Xining's voice. Xiao Chao, I'm sorry, my sister is sick, and my mother didn't notice that her phone was turned off in the hospital. You and Xiaozi take care of yourselves and listen to your father. When your sister recovers, your mother will bring your sister back to find you. Ji Chao, who had just woken up, rubbed his eyes and woke up immediately when he heard Lu Xining's voice on the phone. He said excitedly, Dad, it's my mother's voice. Ji Mai gave him the phone and listened to it several times. Ji Chao was slightly relieved, but he was very worried about Lu Nuonuo's health. Dad, my sister is sick. Ji Mai said a lot to him, and when he was sure that his mother and sister had not been in a car accident, Ji Chao's heart was finally relieved. Although he was also worried about his sister, he believed that with his mother by his side, his sister would get better soon. In order to see their mother and sister as soon as possible, Ji Chao and Ji Zhe said they would stay at Lu's house for the next few days. Ji Mai agreed. The Lu family has housekeepers, servants, and bodyguards. There is no difference between the two children living here and living at Ji's house. The housekeeper will bring bodyguards to pick them up after school to ensure their safety. The bodyguards that Lu Xining found have a strong evil spirit and extraordinary skills. He had seen these people's skills in Yuqiao village last time. Ji Mai realized that Lu Xining had really made arrangements for matters after taking away the custody of the children. These days, Ji Mai will come to have dinner with the two children in the evening. He will wait until they fall asleep before leaving. Because his daughter's fever came suddenly this time, Lu Xining stayed with her in the laboratory ward for 5 days and took her home after she fully recovered. It was Friday evening when he returned to the Lu family. The housekeeper told her about Ji Chao and Ji Zhe living in her bedroom, including the fact that Ji Mai would come over to have dinner with the children. When she got home, it was dinner time. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe, who were playing with building blocks in the living room, turned back immediately when they heard the noise at the door. This kind of thing happened frequently in the past few days. This time, they finally saw the person they had been thinking about. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe called her at the same time, Mom. Xining paused while changing her shoes, looked at the two children with moist eyes, turned her face away to wipe away the tears, and nodded at them with a smile. Xiao Chao, Xiao Zhe, Mom is back. Lu Nuonuo, who was in her arms, immediately got down from her arms when she saw her two brothers, and threw herself into their arms while calling them brothers. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe immediately caught her. They remembered what their mother said on the phone, their sister is sick. Sister, are you still feeling unwell? Ji Chao pulled her and examined her body, but found no wounds. Ji Zhe also looked around her from head to toe, and the concern in his eyes made Lu Nuonyuo feel closer to him. She wore a mint-colored skirt today, a pink candy bag slung across her body, her shiny black hair draped over her shoulders, and her bangs made her eyes shine even more, making her look obedient and soft. Lu Xining took the luggage upstairs. After packing, she glanced at the four-piece suit on the bed, thought about it, and asked the servant to change into a new one. When she came down from upstairs, she saw Ji Mai playing with building blocks with the three children. He took off his suit jacket on the sofa, and the cuffs of his white shirt were casually rolled up by the man, revealing a valuable watch. Lu Xining changed into a clean home suit and went downstairs. As soon as she walked down the stairs, she was surrounded by the three children. The three little ones hugged her and shouted in unison, "Mom." She squatted down and kissed each of them, then led them to the dining room. From the housekeeper, she learned that Ji Mai would come over to eat with his sons these days and leave after they fell asleep. He was already here, so Lu Xining didn't need him to eat. "Brother, eat some meat." Lu Nuonyuo was sitting in a child's chair and eating deliciously, taking a bite of vegetables and a bite of meat, a bite of egg custard and a bite of meat, and she didn't forget to pick up some meat for her two brothers. Lu Xining looked at her daughter's appetite, smiled and took away the rice grains stuck on her cheeks, and wiped the dirt from her mouth. "Eat slowly, no one will snatch it from you." Lu Nuonyuo held up her own small spoon, her big round eyes, curved into crescents, very lovable. She said to the people beside her, "Brother, eat more." Ji Chao and Ji Zhe saw that their sister was eating so deliciously and her appetite was better than usual, so they ate an extra bowl of rice, which made Ji Mai look at them twice more. Children are growing up. Parents certainly hope that they can eat more. Ji Mai and Lu Xining picked up some food for the three children, respectively. At this moment, they were just parents of several children. Lu Nuonyuo held up her empty bowl to show Lu Xining. "I've finished eating. Nuonyuo is great. You can have one more candy tomorrow." Little Dumpling's eyes lit up. Although there were a lot of candies in her candy bag, she always listened to her mother about how much to eat every day. Tomorrow and the day after tomorrow are weekends. Ji Chao and Ji Zhe stayed. Before Ji Mai left, he asked her about the car accident. Lu Xining just said that someone had already checked it out, and she had a vague answer in her heart. She lived a simple life and never made enemies. The only one who regarded her as a thorn in the eye was Lu Sisi. Before leaving that day, Lu Sisi's eyes were obviously wrong when she looked at her. Ji Mai keenly noticed the change in her eyes and asked, "Do you already have a suspect in your mind?" She told Ji Mai about this, but was rejected by the man. Ji Mai's voice was low and magnetic. "Sisi is a kind person and would not do such a thing."